it's time to beat the mind game. And now it's time to beat the mind game. And now it's time to beat the mind game. And now it's time to beat the mind game. To beat the mind game. And now it's time to beat the mind game. And now it's time to beat the mind game. And now it's time to beat the mind game. it's time to beat the mind game. And now it's time to beat the mind game. And now it's time to beat the mind game. And now it's time to beat the mind game. It's time to beat the mind game. And now it's time to beat the mind game. And now it's time to beat the mind game. And now it's time to beat the mind game.
Podcast is powered by Control. Control is a meal replacement and functional foods business whose mission is to improve the lifestyles of gamers and content creators by making them healthier. Their meal replacement shakes and meal on the go bars are the best tasting products in their category, while also giving you all the protein, vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients you need to keep you going. Check out drinkcontrol.com and try out the sample kits to see what all the hype is about.
Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 156 of the XboxEra Podcast. I'm your host, Sik Mechanico, and I'm joined, as usual, by Special Nick.
What's going on? And Kalo Pascha and Christos Anesti for those who celebrate. Happy Greek Easter.
In Greek.
Orthodox Easter. Whichever
Orthodox
one
Easter.
it is that you are. Yes.
Your Jesus, Greek Jesus, resurrected on a different day.
I don't even know how the hell that works. every year, it's different. Like last year, it was like 3 weeks apart. This year, it's 1 week apart. Next year, it's probably going to be the same day. I have no idea on what the rules are. I just go with the flow, man.
Just nod and smile. Nod and smile. Good to see you, my man. And as always, we've got Jesse, aka Don Cabeza, sitting in the pulpit, making us look far prettier than we could. A smooth 40p 60 FPS today, right, Jesse?
Yeah.
You managed to ship that performance patch out in time, huh?
1440 60 we run it. Maybe some games. Like that's a good resolution and frame rate for games to
straight
release.
Straight in with the dramas. No, we'll get to that when we get to that, right? But as always on this show, we need to check on a couple of things. The first thing we need to check on is, Nick, have you enjoyed some delicious, nutritious meal replacement breakfast this morning?
I have been. I have. I've already drank nearly all of this because I was really hungry because I had dinner early last night. So, yeah, I have already nearly finished our delicious control here. So make sure drinkcontrol.com/XboxEra or ask Gary Barwick. He buys tons of it.
He's a big fan.
Ask him how to get some. He'll organize it for you. Don't worry.
I'm eating my meal replacements right now. Nice Cadbury's.
Is that a suppository?
You wish it was.
Eating a lot of meat later.
A lot of meat, yeah. Speaking of suppositories, what?
Yeah, I'll be eating at Mum's. We're having a barbecue later for Greek Easter, and then watching the footy at Mum's.
Lovely. That sounds lovely, mate. Sounds like a wonderful time.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got Jesse here. Hi, Jesse. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. I'm just bouncing from review to review to review.
To review.
Yeah,
we've done a lot.
much.
There's a lot coming. There's a lot landed the end of this week, and we've got a lot coming next week, right?
Mm-hmm. Got at least two. No, well, I've got one coming next week. I don't know if anyone else has anything coming.
Big one next week.
It's that. I mean, I can say this one, Dead Island 2. Dead Island 2 releases next Friday, so you can expect a review close to that time. Or before that time, I guess, is what they normally do. You never really know.
Yeah, could be at any point. But yeah, cool. The second thing we want to check in on with everybody is, how's chat doing? Chat in a good mood today. Yeah. I think all of the Xbox podcasts are on at once. So if you're with us, we love you even more than usual.
Warm us up with some likes.
Yeah.
See, I'm doing the like thing.
Yeah,
Still weird to get used to, but I'm doing the like thing.
We've got to do the like thing. We've got to do the announcement. So for those that Nick had a problem. Nick let us know, hey, John, the podcast, if you search Xbox on Apple Podcasts, it doesn't show up. I mean, that's crazy. We literally have the word Xbox in our name. And we did some digging, and as of last Sunday, we have switched podcast providers. We're now with what used to be Anchor, but I guess is now owned by Spotify. Thankfully, a much better service. And you can now find us on Apple Podcasts. If you just search Xbox,
yes.
we appear in the first page of results, which is always nice.
Maybe that's what's been holding us back. I reckon that's probably been holding us back.
From true domination of the podcast.
Rand is always like, if you search Xbox on podcast apps, we're number 1. We're already like number 5, and we just turned it on. Like,
yeah,
it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before we're on the podium.
Yeah,
like at the top.
I agree. But on that note, listeners on audio, if you don't watch it on YouTube, please do take the time out to maybe leave a nice review. Maybe call Nick some names in the review. We don't mind, whatever gets your socks rocking. But if you could take the time out on Spotify, on Apple, on Google, leave a review. Let us know how you find the show, what you like, what you don't like. It helps us out. It really does. 5-star reviews only, obviously. We really appreciate it. And yeah, what have we been playing this week before we dive into the news? Been playing any video games, Nick?
What have we been playing? I have been, believe it or not. So, 2 things. I quickly registered for, got into, downloaded, and started playing the closed beta for XDefiant.
Oh, okay. This is
Ubisoft's COD.
Yeah.
I guess competitor.
How is it?
It's interesting. It's interesting. I will say one thing about it, and it's the thing that kept me playing it because I'm nothing if not consistent. It felt nice.
Okay, gameplay is king.
It did feel very similar to COD in gunplay and pace and all that sort of stuff. There were some weird design decisions. The menu UI is kind of bad. I don't like it. Again, it's not a super, like, if a game is fantastic, I'm not going to hate a game because its menu and UI sucks. But yeah, they didn't, unfortunately, the beta doesn't have just straight up deathmatch, which is what I wanted.
Oh.
So I kept playing escort mode. So what happens in escort mode is one team has this package that has to be delivered to a certain point, and the package is like, it's on this, looks like a robot dog, this walking thing, and you've got to stay in the circle that surrounds it. And when you're in that circle, it walks towards the objective. The other team's just trying to take you out.
Okay.
Time to kill is pretty short. There's teams, like there's factions, and each faction has like different abilities. So I kept going with the Splinter Cell faction. What are they called? Echelon.
Third echelon.
Yeah, I kept going as that faction because I love Splinter Cell.
Good choice.
So their ability is all spy stuff. So I kept using the Breel from Halo, which was cool, where you just turn invisible. We call it Breel. It's a thing that our little group has. We call it Breel because you know how the Predator turns invisible? And when he turns invisible, the noise he makes is Breel. When he turns invisible.
Yeah, okay.
Breel. So when we go invisible in Halo, we just call it Breel. I got the Breel. I think that's pretty funny myself. So I went with Echelon. Yeah, it's I don't know if it's going to take too many people away from COD. It might.
Sony probably looking to acquire them any time now. Then,
yeah, maybe Sony should acquire Ubi and say, "Well, we've got our COD competitor."
Boom.
Yeah, I know Ubisoft have kept trying stuff with their free-to-play shooty attempts. Where this one, they were like, bugger it. Just rip off COD and call it a day. That's how it feels to me.
Wow.
There's stuff you unlock. So there was Twitch drops for it. For those that care about Twitch drops, I do. I try and get all of those. So I was like watching XDefiant all day yesterday. So I could get the Twitch drops. You keep anything you get and unlock in this closed beta, you keep for the full release. Yeah, I didn't mind it. Like I hope they add deathmatch. I'm assuming the full game will have deathmatch. I really hope it does, because if it does, then I'll probably never play it again. I just like team deathmatch. That's like, I don't care about all the other modes. Like I just care about deathmatch. So yeah, I was playing XDefiant. The other game I played was a game called King of the Arcade. It's an ID at Xbox game. And like, don't get me wrong, like it's very much an indie game. Like this game, it's it tries to tap. Maybe I played it because I'm 42 years old and I grew up in the arcade. Like that's what this game is doing. It's tapping into your nostalgia for growing up in the arcades. Like you're this quote unquote retired king of the arcade. You won some arcade competition when you were younger.
You're a pinball wizard.
Yeah, all that Nintendo the Wizard game. You won an arcade contest many years ago to the point where you were famous for it.
Okay.
But now you're retired, you've fallen on hard times, you need a job, so you get this job at an arcade. It's actually like the first achievement. I got the full 1,000. And then this dude who's the current arcade, he's like the bad guy. He wants to, I think, take out the arcade that you're at and shut it down. And you've got to take on his cronies in, like, it's got a whole bunch of literal arcade games in it. Like this game felt, I don't know if it's this studio's first game, but it felt like a dev who was experimenting with what they can do, like in terms of what sort of game would we know how to make. So in here, there's like a Duck Hunt clone. There's a full-on arcade racing game in there. There's just all these different arcade games in there. Yeah, Jesse's showing it now.
Like it looks janky as all hell.
Yeah. Like, but the funny part is, like, it almost, and maybe I'm wrong, but like it almost felt like they tried to make it look like really hokey and whatever on purpose to tap into that bad 80s movie vibe. Like there are some arcade games where you, like the Duck Hunt clone that I played, I was looking at the visuals and everything on the Duck Hunt clone and I'm like, hold on a second. I've got a funny feeling these guys know what they're doing more than they're letting on. But maybe that was just the vibe I was getting. It's like, but like I said, it felt like they were experimenting with what they could do. And like their next game will focus on one thing and blah, blah, blah. That's how it felt to me. But I mean, you can see the footage there. It's just I got the achievements in like, I reckon 20 minutes or so. Got the full 1,000 and played it. Yeah, it was just a silly. It tapped into the nostalgia surprisingly well, and the soundtrack is actually legitimately really good. Like it's worth it. It's worth it even just for the soundtrack. The soundtrack is quite good. But yeah, I just every now and again I'll play these games for. And
that's out now on the marketplace. If anyone is interested in having a little go at loads of little arcade classics. Janky form.
It's good. I mean, look, the dev, I'm not going to lie, the dev reached out because I saw this on Twitter. I saw this game on Twitter and liked and retweeted it because I thought it looked like a funny little thing.
And indeed it was.
Dev was, and the dev was like, hey, thanks, do you want to play the game? I was like, sure. So I did. And again, like I said, you can see Jesse's footage. So,
yeah.
It's, there's your Frogger clone. There's, oh my God, I played the Space Invaders. They full on just made a Space Invaders clone in there. You know how hard it was? And then I found a cheat book.
What, in the game?
I was wondering, yeah. So, it's an arcade. There's 3 levels to this arcade. You go down into a basement and there's all these cheat ways around beating certain things. Like it hides a lot of stuff. That's what I mean. It taps into a lot of nostalgia like that. So there's an actual cheat book in there for the Space Invaders game, and it gives you extra lives when you enter the cheat. Because the Space Invaders game was hard as balls. I couldn't get past level 2 or 3 on my own.
Wow.
And then as soon as I got the cheat book and gave myself the extra lives, I got to level 5, which is what I needed to get the job at the arcade.
Oh wow! Okay,
that's the sort of game it is. It's very funny, but it doesn't. I don't think it shies away from how indie and whatever it looks like. You can see it there on the screen. But it was pretty funny,
very very amusing. What about you, Jesse? You've been playing anything this week?
I have been. I played enough Dead Island 2 that I've done the review. It's set, good to go for next week. Can't say anything about it. Started up after Image. That one will be later in the month. I think we're going to be on the list for Star Wars. We might actually be on an EA list for once. I don't know yet, but I'm hopeful on that.
We feel seen.
I know. You know what I have been playing and quite enjoying now that I know more what to expect is my mic's popping. Damn.
Yep.
I have so many things open. It can be tough to not have that happen. I'll probably just refresh StreamYard after this. But yeah, I've been playing Breath of the Wild on PC.
With Dolphin?
No, I'm using Ryujinx after because I've got an old ass Switch and I was able to just yank that off the card off there. So no sailing the high seas for me. It's all legit. And yeah, Breath of the Wild using an Xbox controller running at 1440 and 60-ish FPS because I got that working too.
Nice.
Pretty fun.
Nice,
Way better than something like Mario Odyssey. I actually quite enjoy Breath of the Wild. Unlike Mario Odyssey, which I found unbelievably bored with.
Please, Lord. Please, Lord. Don't do it.
Mario Odyssey is better than Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild's amazing, although the weapon breaking. Did you put on any hacks to like make the weapons not break and have unlimited
there are
stamina?
mods for durability. There are mods for unlimited stamina. I'm really thinking about it because I'm already getting pretty annoyed at just how unbelievably fast everything breaks. Because that is not ammo.
Yeah, no.
That is a consumable.
Yeah, don't get me started on the weapon breaking mechanic. We'll probably talk about the new Zelda, right? Because the trailer was.
They showed the trailer, new trailer.
We'll talk about it.
I've got all my stuff ordered.
Of course you have.
Forward to it.
Of course
you're begging for extras.
I just sold my Animal Crossing Switch to pay for the new Zelda OLED Switch, which is good.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah, we're down a bit because Jesse refreshed.
All right. I wonder if my mic's any better now.
It is. It's fine.
Yes, it's not crackling now.
Okay, good.
Did that stop the stream for everyone, or did it just make us go wonky?
It just made us go down a little bit.
You dip down like a few inches, so it just looks a little weird. It's going through OBS. Yeah. It's not going through my StreamYard. Yeah.
Well, okay, cool. Well, I've been playing, and you guys might have seen the review on XboxEra.com and on our YouTube channel earlier this week, was Minecraft Legends. Yeah, like, if you haven't read the review, please go give it a watch. But the nutshell is, like, it's fine. It's fine. But it didn't, like, blow me away. I think if I was an RTS fan, I probably would have been less positive about it.
Less positive? Why less positive?
Because I think, and this is the rub, I think the less positive reviews that you may have seen were from people that want Age of Empires in a Minecraft world, and that's not really what this team set out to do. So it didn't really tick that box. So I think a lot of people would have been like, oh, you know, it's not what I wanted. And I get it. It was fine though. Like I didn't have a bad time. I wasn't in love with the campaign. It definitely felt like a bit of a tutorial to get you ready for PvP. And on that note,
didn't you give it 7.5?
Yeah, it was competent game. Like I can separate, oh my God, I'm not in love with this, to being objective about what it actually is. Do you know what I mean? Like when I write a review, I'm not like, if I hate the game, but the game is competently well made, but I just hate it because it's not my genre, I'm not going to give it a 4 because that's not being objective about the product. You with me?
Yes, he's gone again.
Oh dear.
Which means we'll be down.
Yeah, we are like this. Look, like
yeah. So I don't know. Maybe Jesse needs to just
not have everything running
stuff.
I don't know. Hey chat, can you still hear us? It looks like we're still running.
No, yeah. I'm just trying to get my damn camera to...
I reckon Jesse might need to do less stuff. His computer might be struggling.
Yeah. Say his name three times and he'll appear. Okay, cool.
No,
but anyway,
yeah.
Go on, Jesse.
Yeah.
What?
It's literally StreamYard's catching up for me, so you guys were like 5 seconds behind. I'm trying to get OBS to use my freaking stop using my camera so I can put it back on StreamYard, but it won't work. So sorry about that.
Okay. We'll find
You're crackling again though, but yeah.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, but this is going to be one of those episodes where we lose the podcast halfway through, and then we got to quickly get back so that we don't split in half like we had a couple of episodes. Yeah, guaranteed this is one of those episodes.
Let's hope. Let's hope not.
So yes, so you gave it a 7.5. Okay,
I gave it a 7.5.
What you were saying just then sounded like a lower score than that.
It's a great game, right? That's the rub of it. It is a great game. I just think that the real meat of it, the real joy to be had out of it, is with PvP. Like that's where you're going to go and have fun. And I had a lot of fun testing PvP. Like the developers, they set up a Discord. And they let a lot of the media and influencers and YouTuber crowd, they kind of all got together and tested things. And I was able to take part in some PvP matches, including with one with someone from True Achievements, who turns out to be from here in the UK. So we got chatting. He was like, "Oh, it's the XboxEra guy." I was like, "Hi." He was a really nice dude. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. But I will definitely be giving it a go when it comes out in retail and my general friendship group has it, because I think that's where the meat of the game is. It's like griefing. Like if you enjoy griefing your friends, this is where you're going to start having a lot of fun in PvP, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. But if you're interested in it, go give the video a watch. Like I said, I had a lot of fun. It just wasn't everything that everybody probably wanted out of a Minecraft RTS.
Yep. Okay.
Cool. And on that note, I guess, we can start talking about the news of the week, unless there's anything else you wanted to cover off video game-wise before we dived in.
No, I actually played 2 new games for once, so that's me done for a while.
I have been playing a little bit of Dead Island 2 as well. But I can't talk about that either. So
I haven't. I didn't get a code.
It's awkward, isn't it? It's awkward chat. Someone in chat make a super chat saying, "Make us change subject quickly."
Yeah, why didn't I get a code?
Don't know. Maybe I was awake. But yeah, news of the week. It's been a week. It's been a week of video game drama.
At the start of the week, it wasn't. I thought it was going to be one of those weeks where there's nothing to talk about. And then by the end of the week, there was plenty to talk about.
There was loads. Like an enormous amount to chit-chat.
Yeah, about. And all like pretty much Xbox related too.
Yeah. There was quite... I mean, a lot of it is... it's a bit drama-y, isn't it?
Some of it. Yep.
Some of it's a bit oh, God.
Yeah.
I mean, where do we start?
Where do
the
we
Xbox
start?
Showcase timings. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
I mean, confirmed for what we would have expected from Microsoft, right? About an hour and a half.
Isn't it funny the way everyone is seeing this in a different way? So the Xbox Showcase itself is allegedly 90 minutes.
Okay.
And then the Starfield Direct immediately after is 30.
Okay.
Now, my first instinct, nothing. Well, I would have thought nothing. So my first instinct to that would be, oh, wow, an hour and a half, and then Starfield gets its own thing. They must be quite confident in what they've got, and there must be plenty in there.
Yeah.
But then other people are like, oh, that means the show's going to suck or something. I'm like, how do you come to that conclusion?
That's confusing.
Like, it's not, an hour and a half's a long time. Like,
why is that the conclusion?
I don't know, but Nintendo Directs are super short, and usually even PlayStation Showcases aren't 90 minutes. Like, 90 minutes is a long time. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is Xbox we're talking about, so it could be, a bad, poorly formatted, lots of boring stuff show too. It could be, but my assumption is that if it's 90 minutes long with Starfield not being part of it,
it's probably got something to show.
Yeah, I assume it'll be something decent. I surprisingly took the more positive spin on it, which is a bit abnormal for me. But yeah, Is it too early to do our predictions? Because we're only in April. Maybe we should do them like the week before.
Yeah, let's hold on that. I feel
that's the night before type of thing.
Yeah, I feel like we don't need to do that yet. But I'm looking forward to it. Like, I agree with you. 90 minutes is standard, right? No surprises there. Yeah. But a half hour just on Starfield, that's confident, don't you think?
Yeah. And it feels fitting that Starfield's going to be 30 minutes long. It almost feels fitting, doesn't it?
To be fair, they've never spoken about 60 FPS for Starfield. And I think anyone holding out hope,
60.
Anyone holding out hope for that is, I've got a bridge to sell them. Like,
there is no chance of that game having a 60 mode.
Way, no chance at all.
It'd be great if it does for those wanting to play Starfield. I won't be caring either way. I have no interest in that game. But I hope for all of you who want to play it, I hope they find a way to get a 60 mode in there.
It's called a PC.
Yeah.
But look, I'm not particularly like, woo, Starfield. I am hoping it's going to be my first Bethesda game where I'm like, yes, this is the game where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to really enjoy this. But I'm not like entirely confident that that's going to be the case. So I have to wait and see, right?
Big open world space RPG, just not my jam.
The open world thing is the thing that bothers me. Is
open universe,
right? It's too much.
It's not even open world; it's open universe.
So that scares me a little.
My God, that's another level.
Another level. Too much to do. But I'm still looking forward to the game. Jesse, it's got to be up on your most anticipated list. Surely.
It's up on almost everyone who has any type of decent taste. Yes.
Why? It's not like I'm going against the grain here by saying I'm not into the big open world stuff anymore.
You are. They're the most popular genre. It's the most popular genre.
Yeah, but I've always said I'm not interested in the big bloated open world.
You call them bloated. I call them full of value.
Whatever, man.
Define value. We're not respecting my time.
Yeah, it's respecting your time by letting you fill it with fun video game stuff.
No.
I've never found ticking stuff off a list fun.
Yeah.
Most of them you don't have to, but also you are generally just ticking things off a list. You just don't see the list. That's what Breath of the Wild is. Breath of the Wild is a giant Ubisoft map game, but they don't let you see the list. So you don't really think of it as a list game. But so much of it is. And that just ends up being most games. It is.
Zelda games have been the same since forever. They just let you do whatever. If you want to partake in the side quests, go for it. That's why they don't mark them on maps, because if it's all discovered organically. So you discover the little old lady in the village that says, "I've lost my children. Can you find them?"
Well, even things like Assassin's Creed have an exploration mode where there's no map and they just give you a general area to go and you find it all organically. You haven't played it, so you can't make the face. You don't know. I've played both.
I've got Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah, but Odyssey was the one that had the really good exploration. Did you play it in exploration mode where it doesn't tell you exactly where to go?
That's a very
gives you an idea.
That's a
Origins, though. I've played Assassin's Creed 1 and 2, which are the two best ones. They are the two best ones.
You conflate personal preference with quality.
Whatever.
You do.
It's because my taste is flawless.
You can say my favorite.
Whoa. Anyone that's seen the Patreon movie podcast knows that your taste is not flawless, bro.
No, my taste is flawless, mate. Odyssey. That's how you do an open world.
The bad map games are the ones that make you grind when you don't want to. But in a lot of these, you can just focus on the main objective. There might be something coming up where you can focus on the main objective and be done in 7 or 8 hours, or you can go through different map areas and you can double or triple that if you want. Like, that's what a lot of them end up being. The issue I had with, say, like Valhalla was the first time you had to grind in an Assassin's Creed game, and that's why I didn't end up finishing it. But in all the other ones and in most of Ubisoft's games, you can just mainline and you'll be fine. and it'll be a lot shorter. It'll be 12 to 20 hours instead of 70 to 100.
The best Assassin's Creed game is Shadow of Mordor. That is the best Assassin's Creed game. Oh my God, that game is so fun, and the map is nice and small. Doesn't have a million icons with side quests. It's almost like Crackdown, where the focus is on just becoming a superhero, like super powered, and just taking orcs out. Oh,
so like
I had fun with it for a limited
Shadow of
time, but
Mordor.
it did turn into a map game eventually, and I was just like, no.
Shadow of Mordor?
The first one.
No, it didn't. No, it did not.
I quit, so
No, it did. Well,
it
you
must
were wrong.
have.
You were never interested in the game to begin with, because it did not become a map game at all.
I'm just looking at my
Sure it
Lord
is.
of the Rings shelf up on my man cave wall, and I'm like,
Shadow of Mordor was, oh God, I love that game.
was a map
The
game you like,
second
so you
one.
pretend it's not a map game.
The second one, it wasn't a map game. That's why I loved it, because it didn't have 1,000,001 icons. That's why I loved it.
hey guys, can we just pretend to be positive instead, please?
Anyway, Starfield.
Can we just pretend? Can we just put some false
Anyway.
positivity out there, please, for everybody? For
I
everyone's
did.
sake?
I said Shadow of Mordor is amazing. That's very positive. What do you mean?
Oh,
Play
man.
Shadow of Mordor. It's like $3 now. Usually it goes on sale. I just buy it and play it. It's like the best Assassin's Creed game ever made.
The Nemesis system was cool.
Yes.
What else? So yeah, Xbox Showcase. Looking forward to it. June 11th, which is a Sunday. We will be doing a live reaction show, making Nick get up nice and early.
Like 2 a.m.
Lovely. Is it 2 a.m. for you? Or staying up late, I guess.
It'll be like 2 or 3 a.m. That's like the standard time.
Never mind, mate. You'll be fine. But yeah, looking forward
You know,
to it.
I
It's gonna be
gotta
fun.
show this real quick.
Go on, what are you going
So
to show
this
us?
is
What?
Shadow of Mordor with its giant map that eventually is filled with a ton of icons.
It's not giant. It's not
It's
giant.
It's not as big as the second game. It is still a rather large map game. Like it's got a
not.
pretty big map. It does. Just because you might
doesn't,
not have
man.
felt the need to engage with it doesn't
I
mean
did.
it
I
wasn't
covered the
there.
whole map. I did everything. I got the platinum. I did everything.
Yeah, you did every icon
not
on the
big.
map in this
It's
map
not
game.
big. It's not big.
No, I'd call it a medium-sized map, and then it went to multiple medium-sized maps in
compared
the
to
next one.
Assassin's Creed, compared to Forza Horizon.
You're
compared
making
to
me
all-
eat chocolate
map
out of
is
stress.
tiny. Its map is tiny in comparison.
It's not even just about the map. It's also about the amount of icons, which I think Forza has gotten better with feeding you more over time.
That's not a lot
instead
of
all at once.
icons in comparison to other games. It's not a lot.
Well, this is pretty early in the game.
Whatever, man. It's not even moving. Your video is not moving anyway.
I know. I had it paused on the map because I didn't know how long it was going to be in it.
There's actually
Anyways,
2 parts to the map too. You're not even showing the second part. There's actually technically two
Yeah,
maps.
I know because it is a map game. No
it's
matter
a
what you
double
say.
map game now,
Yep.
apparently.
It's really not. Those 2 maps are both smaller than like one Assassin's Creed.
But
map.
it's still a map game full of icons. It's just at a size and a
not.
scale you appreciate better. You can't just pretend
That's
it
like
doesn't exist.
that's like saying Crackdown's a map game.
Yes,
but it's
it
not.
absolutely is. Yeah,
No,
it
it's
is.
not. No.
What?
Just because a game has a map, it doesn't make it a map game.
Please, for the love of God.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Suicide
Squad was
Squad.
delayed. Honestly. I saw someone on
Suicide
Twitter
Squad.
today like tag all of us and say like me and someone else are
I
holding
saw that.
you and Jesse.
Yeah. There'd be nothing to hold back. I'd destroy him. You know,
Oh God.
I don't go to
What's
the
wrong with
gym 5 days a week for nothing.
us?
It's all training.
Ugh,
It's all training. I'm going to be an MMA fighter.
the egos. Right. Yeah, Suicide Squad. So this is what the 3rd delay I think we were discussing before we went
Something
live.
like that. Yeah.
So
Something like
the
that.
only time they ever gave it a date was in 2020 when they dated it for the year 2022, and then in the year 2021, I think they delayed it or to 2023, and now
Didn't they
so this is
delay
the
it after
second
the-
delay.
But didn't they delay it after it was at the state of play?
Yes.
Or am I imagining that?
No.
No, they
They
did.
The,
'Cause it it got a bit of a reaction, didn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it got a bit of a reaction for being games as a service and Battle Pass and this and that and the other. And then it got delayed, didn't it? That's what I thought, unless I'm misremembering.
The very first time it was shown was at one of those like WB, their own fandom thing, I think. And it was dated for 20. Now it's in 2020, and it got dated for 2022 then. Then in a random tweet, they changed it to 2023, and then it got shown off in the state of play earlier in the year, and then it just finally was officially delayed after the state of play.
Oh. Yeah, and back in Feb.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're delaying it again. Or is this the
This is its second technical delay publicly.
Okay.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's a bummer for them.
I'm guessing this delay is to take all the shit out that people were complaining about, yeah?
I don't think that's
enough time.
There's no kind of ever where a delay will occur where they'll be like, yeah, we'll just take out the stuff you don't like. That's not how game dev works.
Schreier said it is for polish and to perhaps remove the always online requirement, but they're not changing the base game or the monetization or anything.
Yeah, it's still going to be. It's still going to be exactly what they said it would be, which is a games as a service title.
Yeah, with a bunch of cosmetic microtransactions that people love.
Yeah, and this is the thing, like, for all of the uproar the gaming bubble has about so much stuff, and this is like a prevalent theme, I feel like it's going to be today. The average consumer doesn't give a shit. Like, there's a reason those games keep getting made, and it's because they're wildly successful. As much as I might not agree with it, that's why
they're not all wildly successful. We see games shut down all the time.
Yes,
Hello, Marvel's Avengers. Like, they're not all.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that is one of the things about this industry is like the gaming bubble likes to pretend that it knows everything and is wise. But the reality is that a lot of the time, the reason live service games keep getting made is not because they get shut down all the time. It's because they are wildly successful when they work.
That's not correct. They keep getting made because they want to make money, and they're hoping that their games as a service is the one that makes that money. It's not because they're all wildly successful. Quite the opposite, in fact. You're living in your own bubble now, where you see the success of Fortnite and you see the success of PUBG, and think that for every Fortnite, there's like 50 Rumbleverses or whatever the hell it was called that just got shut down by Iron Galaxy. They're actually not all wildly successful. They're trying to be wildly successful because they see the payoff in terms of monetary success is far bigger than in a single player game. My thing is, I've got no problem with games as a service. Hello, Fortnite and Rocket League is all I play. I've got no issue with games as a service. My thing is, pick and choose your moments. There are games that are fine to be games as a service, and then there are games that probably shouldn't be. Like something we forgot to discuss last week, the recent leak with Jet Set Radio. So allegedly it appears...
footage.
Allegedly. Yeah, so allegedly, I don't care about the Persona 3 remake. Allegedly, it appears that Jet Set Radio is in development. But the rumor is that it's a games as a service game. And I'm like, why?
To make money.
Why would Jet Set Radio be a games as a service game? That's not a game that... Now, again, if they're clever enough to find a way to pull that off and make it work, good on them. I just don't like...
That was the issue. Avengers was not meant to be a games as a service game. Crystal was making it as a single player game, and then Square came in late and said, nope, you've got to bolt this on. So if it comes down to, like, did you start that way? Did Suicide Squad start that way? Is Jet Set Radio starting that way? And that's when they can be really good. Just it has to start like that.
Yeah.
God, Jet Set Radio, man. I hope that... I think that's one of the Super Game projects or part of the Super Game project or something like that. But
is that
I noticed
leak?
Yeah, so it's what, you know, a lot of people compared Hi-Fi Rush to Jet Set Radio.
Oh, okay.
But Jet Set, did you ever play Jet Set Radio?
Yeah, God, yeah, man. I had it on the OG Xbox, right?
Oh, I had it
or
on
Dreamcast. Am I thinking
original.
Jet Set Radio Future? Because there was a
Future
sequel, right?
is the one that was on OG Xbox. Jet Set Radio was on Dreamcast. Jet Set
never
Radio
played the
is
OG.
also Jet Set Radio is on backwards compatibility. 360 Xbox Live Arcade. Wait, is it Xbox Live Arcade? Maybe not, but it's backwards compatible. I think you can even buy it now. I don't think it's been delisted.
Interesting.
And I've still got a Dreamcast copy. Jet Set Radio is a graffiti. It's a rollerblading graffiti tagging music game.
Yeah.
And you can see, you see pieces of it in Sunset Overdrive. You see pieces of it in Hi-Fi Rush. You see, if it can come back, and I mean, I'd prefer it's not a live service game, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and see what happens.
You say that so begrudgingly. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and, hope to God.
Yeah, I just don't feel like Jet Set Radio is a game that's one of the ones where you go, nah, let's just make this a single player thing. It's a niche product. It's not going to sell a lot. Let's get it on Game Pass. So at least we've secured some kind of, we've got our money back for developing this game if we put it on Game Pass.
But that's not what you feel it's going to be.
No.
That's a bummer.
Unfortunately not. Bandai in the chat, I believe it's been delisted alongside Daytona. I think if you have a 360 or if you can make your web browser trick it into going to the old store, I think you can still get them. I think.
Tricky. You just type in marketplace.xbox.com normally. It works.
Yeah, Jet Set Radio Xbox Marketplace. Oh, is this it? Yep. Oh, there I am. Oh, it is gone. Look at that. It's only got the demo. It's only got the demo. Oh, and it was Xbox Live Arcade. Sorry, guys. It's not. You can't buy it.
It's fine. It doesn't play very well, so you're not missing anything.
Sorry, guys.
Did it not? Did the arcade version not play well?
No, Jet Set Radio just never played well.
Oh.
No, this is just Jesse trying to say that Jet Set Radio is not a good game.
I mean, it was cool looking and had good music, but I mean, as a game, I don't think it was ever. It was
pretty good. It was pretty good.
I mean, that's you saying it.
It's got grinding, it's got rollerblading, and you do graffiti stuff.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel good to play.
It's not the tightest feeling game, but it also doesn't play like shit either. But it's not the tightest feeling game. No,
it's
It had heart. It had heart. Can we say that? Are we allowed to say it had heart? Is that okay? Can we
it's
do
a perfectly good game. It's a perfectly good game. I didn't say it was amazing. I didn't go, oh my God, the best game ever. I'm just saying it was a perfectly good game.
We all know the best game ever for you is Mario Odyssey.
Super Mario
that actually
Odyssey.
does play really well. Technically brilliant.
It's like, oh my God, can't wait for the second one. Okay, so Suicide Squad was delayed. What else? Well, this was very, very interesting. Two things. I mean, we'll lead into them. Two things that have been like the topics of leaks and discussions for a long time kind of surfaced, you could say, this week. So I don't know where the hell this came from, but that Hoxod Garfield Cat account must have dug into Microsoft's backend and found these videos from a hackathon of a Windows handheld mode.
Oh.
So there was Windows 11 running in a handheld mode to either go on Steam Deck or maybe their own handheld. That presentation that was playing, I watched it and you saw what looked like a Nintendo Switch, but it wasn't a Nintendo Switch. And it was running this adjusted version of Windows 11 designed for a handheld gaming console. So you saw Halo, Forza, you saw the big tiles. And then did you notice there was a smaller set of tiles at the bottom that was Windows, Steam, Epic, Origin. I'm like, This is.
Do you know, that's an interesting point of conversation,
boy.
right? Because whenever we've spoken about handheld, we've always had the discussion around the premise of at some point, thanks to die shrinks, etc., the Series S being put down and the Series S portable, the Series SP becomes a thing, and we all get to live our best lives.
That's not going to happen because Xbox engineers told Jez that it's impossible. So I guess that shoots down any chance of a Series S portable, doesn't it? If the Xbox engineers told Jez directly, why would they lie to Jez?
Exactly. Right? Why would they lie?
Yeah. Why would Xbox engineers lie to Jez? Why would they do that? Like, come on. I'm sure that all the Xbox execs and the engineers tell Jez and Rand the truth about everything. Right?
I couldn't say. But my point was that I'd never considered Microsoft pursuing, because everything they make, Xbox, has a PC version now. We know that the technology does exist to have a handheld PC.
Yep.
So
sure does.
Why can't that be?
I mean, the Series S motherboard is the size of a Steam Deck. Just saying.
I know, but it's about power. Power ratio.
I understand. People keep bringing up this power draw shit with me. I understand. The Series S is now 4-year-old hardware.
True.
4 years, add in another couple for when it may or may not release. You're looking at about 6 years worth of progress that they've probably been working on to be like, let's shrink this down. Work on battery life not being 15 minutes. Work on power draw, heat, all these things. I understand all these things. 6 years is a long time. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what the Series S was. If the Series S was this weird, clever Trojan horse to be like, this is how we do this. Like, anyway.
I get your point. But yeah. Now I'm thinking, what if they are
I don't
pursuing a Windows Xbox handheld? Like,
yeah, well, why not?
I mean, that's very interesting.
I like that they're doing that. Even if they get this done for like the ROG Ally, and that makes the ROG Ally even more attractive.
It does.
I don't understand. Why are you all acting like? Everyone's like, I don't think.
Are you talking to the chat when you say, why are you all acting?
Why are you all acting like technology doesn't shrink? I don't understand why, when it comes to the Series S, we all suddenly believe that technology can't shrink. Didn't you see what Sony did with the PS2? That ultra slim PS2 ended up being smaller than a Steam Deck, and it didn't even have a power supply. It had the power supply built in. It didn't have the external power supply. Like,
I think the point that's being made is that
as soon as the Series S comes along, oh no, technology never ever shrinks anymore and never gets smaller. Our bloody mobile phones are almost the power of a bloody Series S, for God's sake. Like, I don't understand why everyone suddenly acts like, oh, the Series S can't ever be shrunk.
I don't know.
What?
Maybe they're right. Maybe you're right. Who knows?
Whatever, man. I'm dying on the hill.
Another hill you're dying on.
I don't give a shit. I'm dying on that hill. I reckon. I'm telling you now. I still reckon there's going to be one. I don't care when it is. I still reckon there's going to be one.
Absolutely love to be in the market for a portable handheld. They would absolutely kill.
Why wouldn't they?
Exactly.
Why wouldn't they? They allegedly still want to be a part of Japan. What better way to do well in the Japanese market than have a handheld there? Just imagine it. Like, it would be the most amazing handheld ever. Just a Series S. And if you bought one of the $1,000 expansion cards, you could take it out of your Series X, pop it straight into the portable, and away you go. Yeah. Like the most amazing thing ever.
I'd love
And you're playing... Oh,
I would absolutely love it.
I would buy 3 of them. I'd sell my kids Series S's, buy them each the portable, and then I'd get one for myself. Like... Come on.
Fair.
Just get it done.
Fair.
Like,
but
get it done. Like, just it's so odd the way everyone's like, no, it's 1973 and technology never advances. The Series S is staying as it is, never going to be shrunk. Bad luck, sucked in. That's literally what tech does. It progresses and gets smaller over time. That's literally what it does.
We'll have to wait and see, But it's 100 watts, I think, power draw. That's a lot to emulate, bro.
I know. I know. I'm not, like I said, I'm sure they've been working on it. Like, they must have been working on it like over the last 4 years on how do we get the power draw down on this thing. Even for the console itself, like, we get revisions, remember? Over the course of a generation, we get revisions of hardware where they shrink it down and they adjust and it reduces power draw over time and it doesn't get as hot anymore and blah, 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 blah. I don't understand why everyone just forgets all this stuff happens now that we talk about a Series S portable. It's so bizarre. Why are you all acting so weird? Why are you all doing that?
That would be the really cool thing to see, to be honest with you. Like, you're right? They do the whole hardware revision thing.
Yes.
Right.
Sony's been doing it with the PS5.
But imagine, like, they do the hardware revision thing and the hardware revision for the Series S is a freaking shrinks it down so much that, the Series S, it was our budget entry home console, but now it's a hybrid or it's a portable, and this new version does everything exactly the same. It would absolutely kill. It would absolutely kill
the Series S. I put a Steam Deck next to it. It's not much bigger than a Steam Deck now. It's already not much in terms of size. I'm just talking about size now. It's not much bigger than a Steam Deck now. So I refuse to believe that someone as on the ball as Jason Ronald and his team haven't been working on, hey, how do we get this down? How do we reduce its power draw? How do we make it run cooler? How? All while having a screen on top of it. Like, surely they've been working on that. I'd be very surprised if they haven't. Very surprised.
It'd be very cool to see. I would absolutely love it. Like,
I'm dying on the hill. You can all go get stuffed. I'm dying on the hill. I don't give a shit. You can all go cram it.
Well, there you go.
That Windows handheld mode, I hope it comes to the Ally. If it at least comes to the Ally, that's something. And then we can run Windows games on there. Epic. Steam. That thing would... I shouldn't say it'll kill the Steam Deck. It would kill the Steam Deck for me. I don't know why you would choose the Steam Deck over it. Going by what its specs look like, and if it's running Windows 11, it can run the handheld mode. I don't know why you choose a Steam Deck over it, but maybe that's just me. Anyway.
Well, thank you. No, I appreciate your passion. I'd like a portable Xbox. That's what I'd like.
Yep, portable Series S.
But for now, we'll have to make do the ones that sit on shelves in our homes. But good news, Ubisoft Plus has finally come to.
Oh God, that took long enough. God, I got the DM I got about that was like 4 years ago. It was never going to be.
And it's $18 a month?
Yes,
$24 in Australia.
It's an already existing 18. This tier already existed. This was Ubisoft Plus Alexa or what the hell? Friggin' Luna. Sorry. It was Ubisoft plus Luna. Now it's plus Xbox as well on top of that.
Yeah.
So it's a tier of the service that already existed.
I don't understand why people thought it was going to be included. It's like a $15 service by itself. Why would it be included in Game Pass Ultimate?
I think people are so... This is the problem Microsoft have semi-created for themselves with Game Pass, is that generally people are so now entitled that they're just like, what do you mean? What do you mean I have to pay more money? Get out of here with your crazy thoughts, Microsoft. I'm not paying you. And that's...
Because isn't this proper Ubisoft Plus where the new games are day one?
New games day one, and it's the Ultimate Edition. Yeah. It's all the DLC that you get.
Yeah, that's right.
$120
so why would
edition.
That be part of Game Pass Ultimate? Like, no way.
Exactly. But that's the thing. This is console war fodder, right? Oh, they expect you to pay more, and they'll just use it as a way to have a little bit more drama in their lives.
Like, I get that EA's is included, but EA's is like
just the vault.
Day one games. Yeah, it's just the vault. That's
the
all
EA PC one that is day one games is only on PC and is about the same price. So
that's right. Like you're not. I mean, it'd be good if Ubisoft had that, because remember that survey came out that had Ubisoft Plus Lite, which was like the Vault style one that I had mentioned ages ago. I don't know what happened to that. Maybe they're going to bring it later. Maybe they decided just to launch with the full one.
Yeah,
and maybe the Lite will be included with Game Pass Ultimate. I don't know. I'm surprised the Lite's not there. The only problem is, like, the weird part about Ubisoft Plus is, like, have you seen all the games? The games that have, like, you've been able to buy on sale for, like, no money for the last
That's what I
few
mean.
years.
It's just like, who is this for?
Yeah, or games, they've given away games with gold over the last 5 or 6 years. Like, it's...
I don't understand who this service is for.
Like, I guess it's just for people that love Ubisoft's brand new games and don't want to buy them up front, I guess.
Yeah, when they have it's technically when they have a new game coming out, you drop $18. You can play it as long as you want. You get the ultimate edition of the game. Like, it's a rental service for a lot, but the issue is they just haven't been putting anything out lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I guess so.
But it is. It's a thing. So if you really love Ubisoft games, you can spend some money.
Ubisoft new games, because remember, it's only Ubisoft. Game Pass has third party, Microsoft, everything.
Yeah,
this one is just Ubisoft, and most of the games have already been given away, games with gold, or you've been able to buy them for next to nothing for the last 5 or 6 years. That's what makes this service weird. Like, this is pretty much literally just
particularly great.
Yeah, this is literally just brand new Ubisoft game subscription. Really,
they rarely make anything I absolutely love. So
I don't know. It just seems weird to me. Maybe they'll add maybe when this doesn't, if it doesn't take off, maybe they'll go, you know what, let's bring Lite, make it part of Game Pass and get that money off Microsoft. get a cut of it from Microsoft like EA does.
Yeah. But anyway, speaking of things that are dead on arrival, the Microsoft Xbox dashboard that they were going to change has now apparently been killed, and they've actually listened to feedback.
Yes. So when literally everyone on the internet was like, why are you doing this to the dashboard? You're covering it with so many squares where we can't see the animated backgrounds you've just given us. They were like, nah, this is going to be what the new dashboard is like. And we're just like, see, people, this is where your outrage should be.
But they never said, no, it's going to still just be like this. They started iterating on it and changing it pretty much right away.
Who was the designer? I want to meet this person. Who was the designer that was like, we need to cover it up with as many squares as physically possible so you can't see the background? I need to meet this person because as a former graphic designer, I want to hear I need to hear the thought process.
I'll give you a clue. It's really easy. It wasn't the designer. It was the guy that works in advertising that said, we need all of these ad squares. Please put them on the dash. And the designer was like,
you can still do that. You can still do that with a minimal design if you're clever enough about it. You can still make it happen.
I know.
Like there's a way, there's a balancing act to be had there that you can do it. It's just...
It was a UI designed for new people getting into the platform.
Yeah.
Being able to jump between that and, say, the classic one would probably work best, but they were essentially building a new infrastructure for a UI. So they can't just immediately change it. Luckily, who cares about the background? They should get rid of backgrounds. Backgrounds are stupid. If you're just staring at the background on your console all day, what's the point? The whole point of the freaking UI is to get you around. Who cares? Then why do you need to see your background when you're just jumping between games or going to settings or anything so much?
It's nice. Why do you have a desktop wallpaper on your PC?
Because I don't always have something open on it, but unlike a game, it's on for me to come to later. I never leave my console on to come to it.
There's nothing wrong with things looking nice. There's nothing wrong.
If it hurts functionality, it's wrong.
The world is a shitty place. Why not have nice things? It's nice to have a nice dashboard to look at. There's nothing wrong with it. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's good.
It depends on if it's actually useful. The PlayStation 5 looks nice. It's not easy to use.
That's what I was about to say. The PlayStation 5 dashboard looks pretty. Unfortunately, the UI sucks. But there's a balancing act. You can achieve both things. It's possible to achieve both things if you're clever enough about it.
And unfortunately, it didn't look like Microsoft were, but at least they are now, right? So
It never looked like they weren't. They had said, we're starting this up. It'll be something we're aiming to get out in about a year's time. And that was about like half a year ago or so. Like, it wasn't like, oh, we're doing this. Screw you. This is where we're going with it, no matter what. It was, we want to work together with you guys on figuring it out. And people have given feedback. And over time, it's now become, okay, we're gonna take it back to the drawing board completely.
See, Jeremy, you just saw the first ever real life typed lol, where I was also laughing out loud. Jeremy G goes,
this is the bickering episode.
XboxEra Podcast today. Episode 156, the bickering.
Are we mad? Is everyone...
The gaming community as a whole has just been ridiculous this week.
I like. I'm the one being positive. That's the funny part about it. You're being negative. I'm the one that's been positive.
Am I being negative?
Mort is amazing.
Oh God!
The series as portable as possible. The dashboard can look
Shadow
nice.
of Mordor is amazing. Was in relation to saying it's the best Assassin's Creed game. That's being negative about Assassin's Creed.
I'm the one that's been positive. The PlayStation 4 almost got it. It almost got the balance right between looking pretty and having a decent UI. Like before the PlayStation 5 came out, the PlayStation 4 UI was in a pretty good place. And then Sony's like, no, we're going to start again and we've got to make it suck. And we've got to put stupid activity cards that no one's going to use in there. And those themes you paid for,
they're all gone.
Right here. We took your money and we spent it on nothing. Suffer. We spent it on money hats. All your theme money went to money hats. And it just, the PS4 UI started shit, but towards the end, I reckon the PlayStation 4 was probably the console that had just about struck that balance between looking good and being functional. Probably almost right there on the cusp. The Xbox could do it too. Just they've got to be smarter about it.
What about this solution? They can have one that looks similar to now. They can have one that's all over the place. But if you don't move for 10 seconds, it hides it. You get to see your dashboard. You get to see your background in a nice way.
10 seconds is a long time to just sit there and wait for tiles to disappear.
But what are you doing if you're not actively using it?
I think that's a fair compromise. It's a pretty good idea, man. Like, don't poo-poo it. Like,
when I'm not using it, I want it to look nice. Well, who do you care if it takes like 10 seconds?
To me, 5 seconds sounds more reasonable. 10 seconds is a long time.
5 seconds is going to happen a lot without you intending it, and then you got to wait for it to load back up. Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
This is the bickering episode. It's official. What the fuck is going on? Everyone needs to relax, please, God.
Maybe I'll need to do a mock-up in Photoshop myself.
Mock-ups are the dumbest thing because they don't take into account the fact that how a UI has to actually work. And so people see these videos people put out, and they're so clean and they're unbelievably fast. It's like, well, yeah, but that's not going to happen when you have to have an actual UI running alongside the way it looks.
You said I'm not going to consider functionality in my UI design.
You don't know how any of this works, though. So even if you don't know how to actually make an Xbox UI. So in the end, the mock-ups just end up. I know that's what. But then people are like, how come these
take that into consideration?
Yeah, but these guys, people always end up being like, oh, look at how much better this UI that somebody came up with is, and it's like, yeah, but there's so many different factors into what goes into a UI outside of just looking pretty with functionality and readability.
You know what Microsoft has done from a UI perspective? That's painted them into a corner. They've taken away the tabs. They remember how they used to have tabs? So you could use the bumpers to move across to the community tab and the store tab and this tab, that tab, that tab. They've gotten rid of the tabs, which limits their ability to minimize the UI. So I do know how UI works. Maybe they need to bring back the tabs to give themselves the freedom to minimize it a little bit. maybe they need to bring the tabs back. Just a thought.
I liked the tabs.
I'm sure they've thought of it.
But yeah, there you go. I'm trying to keep the train rolling here.
We've only been going for an hour.
Everyone's feeling kind of uncomfortable. It feels like a
right.
parents' evening gone wrong.
We're doing all right.
But hey,
Anyway.
what else? Sega, or Sega if you're in Australia, reportedly are about to acquire Rovio, the makers of Angry Birds, which is interesting. But Nick's too busy laughing at UFC 156.
I was on Twitter and Creaky Legs has posted a very funny tweet clipping me.
Oh dear.
Anyway, it's quite funny. I just saw it. I couldn't stop laughing. I'm sorry.
Very professional, be here in the moment with the gang.
But yes, Sega are reportedly acquiring Rovio for $1 billion. Just fattening themselves up for Microsoft, eh? Telling you now, as soon as Microsoft saw that Rovio acquisition, they're like, oh, Sega's taking mobile a bit more seriously, are they? Let's have a look over here once ABK is done.
Do you really think that Microsoft are even considering it? Really
Bloody oath. Bloody oath. Yeah, mate.
It's truth, mate.
As soon as ABK's done, they're going to get on that shit.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Telling you now, for sure.
It would be a dream come true for you, right? I saw someone ask you on Twitter earlier.
Mate.
Like, I answered for you. I don't know if you answered the guy's tweet.
Yeah, that guy that was like, why do you want him to acquire? I'm like, I don't want him to acquire ABK. I just want Sega. Like, Sega's
all I want in my life.
They can give up ABK. They can give up Bethesda. They can give up all of those for Sega. I don't care. I just want Sega.
You do just want Sega.
Yeah, I reckon for sure. And like I said, the beauty of ABK has opened up the door to make a Japanese acquisition very, very smooth.
Purely because, in your estimation, it's the whole competition, Japan.
Yeah, well, look how quickly Japan ticked off ABK. Yeah, I know people are still going to perpetuate that stupid myth. Oh, an American company can't acquire a Japanese company. That's bullshit.
That is bullshit.
And ABK has just opened that door because so Sony's played all their cards with ABK. And regulators have played all their cards, not counting Nintendo. So then how do you block Microsoft buying a Japanese publisher? You've played your cards and they failed.
You can't really at that point.
How do you stop Xbox, who has all but zero presence in Japan? And you can't even stop Microsoft from making Sega and hopefully Capcom's content exclusive. Because it's not like it's content that represents a large chunk of revenue for Sony or Nintendo. No. So, and Microsoft will argue that they need that content to be exclusive to their platform to help their strength in Japan. So how do you stop it? How do you stop it? Again, I'm just basing everything I'm saying right now is purely based on what I'm seeing unfold out of ABK. So it's not like it's there. We're all seeing the same stuff happen with ABK. So based on what I've seen, how regulators treated ABK, how do they stop Sega from being acquired? If Sega wanted to be acquired by Microsoft, how would they stop it? I don't see a way to stop it at all.
You might be right. You might be right.
Boy, hopefully this time next year we're doing an emergency episode like we did with Bethesda and with ABK, and we're doing an emergency episode
about Square Enix.
Wear my Sonic t-shirt.
To be honest, if
Party Poppers.
Microsoft announced an acquisition of Square Enix, I don't care for either. Like, Sega's more interesting to me because Sega.
I could not care less about Square.
But if Square happened, the only reason I would be remotely interested is because of the entertainment value.
Salt value, that's right. It's pure entertainment, nothing more than entertainment. Because now with Crystal and Eidos and Tomb Raider gone, I could not give fewer shits about Square Enix than I do right now. Like, Oh, they acquired Square Enix. Final Fantasy's finally coming to Xbox. So, who cares?
Yeah, I'd be of a similar mindset, mate.
Could not care less.
I would be of a similar mindset.
But, man, the salt value,
it would
the
be
entertainment value on Twitter and Resetera.com would be absolutely priceless. Priceless.
You'd have to buy stock, wouldn't you, in salt mines or something?
Where Sega is for me. Sega is just for me. Anyway.
It's fair.
Anyway. So Sega acquired Rovio to fatten themselves up for Microsoft.
I mean, I can see...
That's the news story.
I can see Miles in the chat. Hi, Miles. Nice to see you, my man.
Oh, is he?
He is.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
Like...
yeah, Square's got mobile, don't they?
They do. And that's a thing. But... Miles, it's been a week for Xbox folks. You know what? Like, I think it's been a week that they've made for themselves. That's what this has been. It's been a week. Yeah. It could have just been a normal week. Yeah. But no.
Aren't we going to ABK next?
We are. I'm just saying.
A gamer lawsuit?
Gamer lawsuit.
My God, why is that still a thing?
Because Sony gave the gamer lawsuit people a bunch of documentation. Apparently.
I know. Did you see that? So, this is the stupidity of Sony, right? Microsoft. We want you to show us, we're subpoenaing these documents from you. Going back to 2012. We need these documents. We need to see your third-party deals. We need to see your employee reviews. We need to see all of this. Give us a moment. That's the shredding machine running. Yeah, we're going to need an extension on those documents. Sorry, we can't give them to you yet. 2 months later, we need those documents. Yeah, sorry, we can't give you those documents. Then the Twitter fanboys and XP, what's his name on Resetera, was like, we're going to sue Microsoft. Sony, can you send us some documents to back us up? Sony's like, done. They're already in the mail. They're already in the mail, guys. Don't worry about it. We already knew you were going to ask, and we sent them last week so that you have them now. I'm like, oh my God, seriously? Like, if that's not more definitive proof that Sony just like literally leans into the console war with all the rest of them, I don't know. I don't know what else does. Like,
it is a bit like hilarious to me.
Oh my God. That's just crazy.
It's hilarious to me that there's a lawsuit from gamers. Like that in and of itself is like cringe inducing. Like what? What is a lawsuit? What do they want? What do they?
I don't know.
What are they alleging is the damage to them?
I like the way Stephen Totillo's tweet says Sony's been sharing docs to Microsoft's surprise. It's like, yeah, Microsoft would be surprised because Sony didn't give them any documents, but they were happy to give the Resetera posters that are trying to sue Microsoft documents.
It's
funny, that
gold.
isn't it?
It is comedy gold, man. It's like, what on earth is going on? Like, I don't get it. Someone help me out here. What do they propose is going to happen?
They're trying to say that it's going to hurt them. That as gamers, it's going to hurt them, and so they want the deal to be squashed.
As gamers,
yes, they think it's bad for the industry to the point where it's going to hurt consumers.
Wow.
Yes, because their favorite brand won't be number one anymore.
Jeez.
On January 27, 2023, plaintiffs issued a subpoena to Nintendo and its CEO, Mr. Bowser. I can't believe their CEO has the surname Bowser. Like, seriously,
it's legendary, isn't it? Isn't it?
He
like
has to have changed it. He has to have changed that. By
Who knows? Who knows?
There is no way known that a dude that happened to be called Bowser is working at Nintendo and now runs Nintendo. Plaintiffs and Nintendo had agreed to a deposition date of March 22, 2023, and plaintiffs were prepared to take the deposition. However, after the court dismissed the complaint with leave to amend, Nintendo refused to produce a witness for the scheduled deposition. Once plaintiffs file an amended complaint, plaintiffs intend to meet and confer with Nintendo and bring a motion to compel if necessary. So Nintendo's like, leave us the fuck alone with this bullshit, would you? Like, seriously? Microsoft was surprised to read the plaintiffs received document productions from Sony weeks ago. Microsoft immediately requested that plaintiffs produce those documents to Microsoft. Microsoft intends to seek further discovery from Sony as necessary. It also plans to cross-notice any depositions of Nintendo and Sony witnesses. Sony's response will be more shredding of documents.
And if things go really bad, they could end up owing Microsoft all of their attorney fees.
Ooh. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oof.
Maybe.
That is someone who's taken the ResetEra Twitter Sony talking points like to the nth degree and like believes them like a fucking Bible, and it's just like gospel. Like, yeah, this is real.
Maybe Serium will give them some of that buyout money to pay for it.
The only thing I can think of is that they're hoping to get just like a settlement or something out of Microsoft. It's just an attempt to get money. Just go away money.
It's so weird.
It's a bit fucking nuts, isn't it? Don't you think? Like,
okay.
Man.
Our law system and lawsuits are very weird.
Yeah, that's true. They are strange.
So weird. I can't wait for this ABK crap to be over.
No, I know it's horrible.
It's been really entertaining lately. We had a while where it was really boring and it was the same stuff. Oh yeah. Oh my god. It's been hilarious.
To be fair, since the CMA suddenly went, surprise, we're dropping the whole console, SLC. Like, yeah, we're not worried about that anymore. And Sony like, you're irrational. Like, then it's been moderately entertaining.
You could tell that Jim was on the phone then saying, "What the F are you doing?
This isn't what we agreed. I want my money back.
This is not what we talked about over coffee. What are you doing?"
He's with the FTC all the time, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, no matter what, we're going to push this. No matter how badly we're going to lose, because we're stupid." And so he's hoping everyone else is going to be like that.
Oh, it's so painful. It's so painful. It hurts. It hurts how painful.
Is the next segment about to hurt? Is the next segment going to be painful?
The next segment's going to hurt.
Yeah, the next segment. Well, no, it's not going to hurt because I think everyone has their opinions. So look, rather than let each one of us rant on, I think if we stop in for an opinion on from each person, including Jesse, for an opinion on this debacle. And then we'll go to chat and hear from chat.
So we're going to preface this. We need to preface
chat.
I'd like to preface this with a question. Why is it? Something I've noticed online a lot. There's this weird, and it's funny. I think Mr. Badbit is still in the chat, so I'd be interested on his perspective on this. We've had him on our show before.
He's a lovely chat.
Has the PS Trophy Room podcast. PlayStation podcast. Check it out. Why is there this weird expectation on Xbox content creators, YouTubers, influencers, whatever? Why is there this weird expectation on Xbox content creators to be seen as quote unquote neutral, or have to be the ones that are honest and constantly like have to crap on Xbox to appease whoever these imaginary people are? It's a weird notion. Like, I feel like Nintendo and PlayStation content creators don't have that same expectation placed on them. They can just fanboy it up and gush it up and praise everything and, oh my God, everything's the greatest no matter what. But Xbox content creators can't seemingly get away with that. Otherwise, they're labeled as fanboys and they're labeled as the worst and toxic and this and that and the other. And I don't understand why those arbitrary rules seem to apply. Now, if you're wondering why I'm saying all this, it's in relation to the next topic. Now, most of you, I would argue, would know me as the guy that's happy to dig his boots into Microsoft where it's warranted. So much so that I don't think there's an Xbox content creator out there that complains more about inane stuff that other people don't care about, like a 4K dashboard, like the Kinect adapter going away, which I was really unhappy with. I'll lay the boots in, right, where it's warranted. But I find it odd. Like, so... Well, I guess one of the advantages of us being the last podcast of the week is that we have time to let things settle and let things play out a little bit and try to be a bit more rational about things.
I like being rational. I like being rational.
So, okay. So I've said what I wanted to say about how we have this weird expectation where we all have to be neutral for some reason. I'm not saying that I want a fanboy. It's something I've noticed. It's a weird thing I've noticed. Some arbitrary rule on Xbox content creators. A phrase I see a lot is, I'm saying it as it is. I'm just being honest and upfront and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, Redfall is 30 frames per second. It has
on console.
On console.
At launch.
At launch.
Yes.
That's the big controversy of the week. Now, what I'm curious about, we'll get to Redfall being 30 in a sec, because I have thoughts. Now, apparently, what I've discovered in the last few days since it's been announced that Redfall is 30 is that apparently Xbox is going to start making consoles soon. As a result,
has that actually been a thing that's been said out loud?
Apparently, Xbox is going to stop making consoles as a result of this one game launching at 30 frames per second, apparently. And like the Xbox division probably shouldn't exist anymore as a result of Redfall being 30 frames per second, which is,
is that for real? Isn't that for real? That's a real.
It's essentially some of the sentiment I have seen and where people seem to be taking this. Like, I get it, right? Okay, be upset. Be upset about Redfall being 30. I'm not playing Redfall anymore. If you've watched this show, I was in, out. Some previews look good. Other previews look not so good. Then other trailers look great. Then other trailers look meh. And I've been 50-50 on Redfall. Now that it's 30, I will not bother with Redfall. Be fully upset with Redfall being 30. What I'm curious about is, why is this an Xbox thing? That's the part that I find weird. This is an Arkane thing and a Bethesda thing. Like, this Arkane studio, I don't believe they've ever made a 60 FPS game on console, have they? This Arkane studio,
Arkane,
the one that's
Austin has not.
Redfall.
No, not that I know.
Again, I'm not saying that this is an excuse for it being 30 and it shouldn't be 60. I wish it was 60. I will now not play. Like, this was a very dumb decision by this studio to do this. Like, because the Series S version runs at 1440-30. So unless it's just a very, very, very CPU heavy game, they should have tried for 60. It's a co-op shooter in 2023. It should be 60. And there's a lot of other dumb things they did. They showed this game at 60. They constantly showed this game at 60. Gameplay, trailers, this, that, the other. They kept showing this game at 60. And then a month before the launch, they're like, oops, we're 30. Be upset at that. That is a thing to be upset about. And the other thing that makes this situation so dumb is that they've done this, right? So, how long do we think it's going to take to get that 60 FPS patch in? Conservatively. Realistically. A month? 2 months?
Who knows? We don't know why it's not 60.
I'm not going to be dumb and say 6 months, a year. A month? 2 months? Let's be positive. a month or two, probably. In the time that they're going to get that 60 FPS patch out, Jedi Survivor comes out, Diablo comes out, Zelda
Jedi Survivor's before.
Whatever. It's around the same time.
It already was.
But that's my point. Zelda comes out. Street Fighter 6 comes out. Final Fantasy 16 comes out. This game's already dead in the water. And it's not even out yet. Like, that's what made this so dumb. That's the stuff you go in on. What I'm not understanding is why is this an Xbox thing? Why are people conflating this to be an Xbox problem? This is on Arkane and Bethesda. It's got nothing to do with Xbox. Like, again, as I just said, this studio has never made a 60 FPS console game before. So they're technically, while it's wasn't a good call and they probably should have pushed for 60 if they wanted to give their game the best chance to succeed in a very crowded market, technically they're doing what they've always done. This studio has only ever made 30 FPS console games. It's also possibly the reason why their games haven't been hugely successful. So you'd think they may have learned from that mistake, and they clearly have not. But there's just been this weird overreaction from, and this comes back to what I was saying before about this weird expectation on Xbox content creators. Like, I'm the rant guy, and I've been seeing some of the stuff that's been said out there, and I'm like, oh my God, are you people for real? Like, just calm down a little bit, man. Like, Redfall being 30 at launch doesn't suddenly mean that, oh my God.
Some of it has been ridiculous.
Borderline embarrassing.
But
it's borderline embarrassing.
So Nick, I want to try and like not lean on one person for too long. So, you know, do you feel like you've said your crux? Is there
no, I've got more, but you guys go. I've got more.
I mean,
you guys go.
I'll do this pretty succinctly. So, I kind of don't disagree with anything you've said. Like this is, but I think there is a couple of things at play here. Like one, Microsoft, if they weren't sure that was a deadlock for 60, to advertise it in every way, shape, and form at 60, and then with just like a little tweet, like, "Hey, please try and not notice this tweet. It's only 30."
Yeah.
Like, and not be more like, "Hey," and then to not have any further response to the uproar before the weekend. It's just like, I mean, I think the uproar is dumb but I also understand it, right? But it is all console wars. It is all console wars. The whole thing
I don't think there's anything wrong with the uproar over the game being 30.
No,
I've got no problem. Like I said, I will
uproar
no
is
longer
probably
play
strong.
the game now.
Like, it's okay to be disappointed.
I was going to try the game. Now I'm not going to try the game. The uproar over the game being 30 in isolation, I've got no problem with. Right? I've got no issue with that. When I woke up and saw the news, the first thing I tweeted was, "Oh my God, it's 30. Gross." That was the first thing I tweeted. Like, I won't play it now at 30. My issue is the way everyone's going in on like Xbox as a platform. Yeah. Or because one game is 30 from a studio that always makes 30 FPS console games. That's the weird part. That's the weird part. Like, you know, how do I word this?
It's probably, if you have to ask, it's probably best not to word it. But, you know, maybe what does Jesse think? Like, what do you think about the silliness on the internet over the last 48 hours, Jesse? How do you feel? Tell me how you feel, Jesse. I want to know.
The conflation of Arkane and like Bethesda and the reasons why, and we don't know. And I also, like you guys say, "Oh, why didn't they say anything?" It's because there's nothing they can say that would have made it any better. It's literally just, well, this game is now going to be this. You can assume with the fact that they were constantly showing it at 60, and they had it listed at 60 on Xbox.com until recently, that they thought it was going to be. But a reality is when you look at Unreal Engine 4, because Unreal Engine 5 is still not ready to almost 2.5 years into the generation, because Unreal Engine 5 only works fully in one mode in one game in Fortnite Creative still to this time.
Yeah.
And that would help a lot with an online open world game, because Unreal Engine 5 does those a lot better than 4 did. 4 is very bad at open world games for the most part. And Arkane, especially Arkane Austin, generally don't have very good console ports. So when you look at the facts, it's not surprising. The issue was them constantly seemingly assuming that it was going to be 60. So they showed it off in 60. They had it listed at 60 on the website. The bad part is, well, shit. It didn't get there. At least give a reason in your initial statement. Coming out later, it's not going to change anything. Once your initial statement just being, this is what it is, and going away, not great. But after that, nothing they say is really going to change much. Maybe I don't know. It's probably going to die off. You never know. The thing that got me was the immediate... This will have killed the game. The immediate overreaction to conflating all of lingering issues people have had with the platform. Like, Redfall being 30 is because Arkane Austin generally makes 30 FPS games, and they're going to a new genre in an engine that's not great for it, and they weren't able to get 60 working. We don't know why, but I don't know how that has anything to do with all of the other issues people keep bringing up, and that conflation is the most annoying part of it. Like, I don't. It doesn't.
Are you talking about the constant, like, Microsoft needs to sort their studios out? Why haven't they got this fixed yet? Blah blah blah, kind of stuff.
Yeah, like there was a long thread from Clobberl, there was a piece from Jez, like all these things that just started lumping so many different things together in with this, when the issue here is that the marketing beats, which are generally done by Bethesda because they're a limited integration company, like, and people calling for Matt Booty's job when he literally has nothing to do with Bethesda. It's just, and it comes from a place where people are always like, well, at other times, they're like, oh, you got to be more positive. It's just a hobby. It's just video games. And then those same people or other people are turning around and saying, oh, what a week of L's for Xbox fans. It's like, what do you mean? People who play video games aren't taking L's. They're just upset that the game's not going to be 60 at launch on their console. That's not them taking an L. It's the friggin' just the terminology and the...
It's just weird. It's all this weird...
The jump to negativity for seeming engagement purposes. Feels
it's cringy, right? Like, I'm gonna have a rant and take Xbox to task. Like, Xbox deserves to be taken to task for many things.
Yeah, right? For a lot of things.
But this is the crazy thing. If you don't take them to task, you're a fanboy.
You're a fanboy.
It's just like,
that's what I mean. Like, there's this weird expectation that, like, oh well, you know, and it's all under the guise of keeping it real. This guise of keeping it real, like, it's just a weird, and like, you know, some of the people I've seen jump on this were the same people that were invited to play Redfall, and I'm just like,
it's really weird because
a second. So you were all flown out to play this game. You were all playing it on PCs apparently, which I didn't know. I had no idea because none of them said anything. I didn't know it was being played on PCs. Did none of you ask any questions? Oh, yeah, it's a marketing PR event. Okay, that's fine. But none of you asked any questions. So how's the console port going? We don't ask about the console port. Okay. So here's the thing, right? I'm not going to name names. Some of the people at this event were people I consider friends. Many of the people that attended this event to play Redfall have friends. Friends who like to leak stuff. Right?
You got your answer in chat, Nick.
What?
Colt said he did ask, and he was told no questions.
Exactly.
Wow,
that's
no
exactly right.
questions.
Yeah, wasn't I called crazy in the Discord for suggesting that? Yeah. Okay.
The way you suggested it was a little more than that.
I'm saying people. I'm talking about Colt. I'm not just talking about Colt. There are other people who I also consider friends that were at this event. We're friends with the Iron Lords. They were there. Paris was there. There was a bunch of them there, not just Colt. Colt said he asked, and they said, "Don't ask." Now, any of those guys could have told any one of us, myself, Jez, Gaz, like if, let's say the Iron Lords, I happened to be in, let's just say I was in a chat with them and one of them said to me, man, we asked about the console port and they said nothing. That's a bit of a red flag. I could have then come on this show and gone, look, I'm hearing that apparently at this Redfall event, they were playing on PC. And when they asked about console, they were told not to ask. Bit of a red flag. How is it going to get back to them? I know Colt, I know Paris, I know Iron Lords. How is it going to get back to them? Like, I'm glad Colt asked. When Colt said I asked, I'm glad he did. So Colt said, I played on PC and it ran okay. It ran fine on PC. And then I asked about console and they said, don't ask about console. Massive red flag. Why didn't anyone say anything?
I don't know.
Like, probably it could just be something as basic as just didn't think about it. They're not journalists. It's not an investigative piece.
Then
You're
why
there.
Are so many of them? Then why are so many of them first to jump on the dog pile? Then
you know why.
You were all cool
it's all
to
engagement, man.
It's you were all cool to be flown out and take your happy snaps. Look, I'm playing Redfall. Yay, blah, 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 blah. But then now it's 30 and you're all keeping it real and you want to all shit on Xbox. Oh, the Xbox platform screwed and Redfall screwed. Blah, blah, blah. Come on, man. Like,
you're really bitter about not getting that Redfall invite,
man,
right?
It's better they didn't invite me to play Redfall because I would have asked those questions and I would have raised those red flags. And it means I'd never get invited again and I'd probably get in trouble, but I don't care. Like, the people that were attending that event, should not be first on the dog pile. That's my issue. Don't take your happy snaps that I'm playing Redfall, but then be the first people to sink the boots into Xbox as a platform just because Redfall is 30. That's my issue. Don't be first to sink the boots in. If anything, you should be the ones defending. If anything. I mean, not that I'm defending. I said I'm not going to play Redfall now. But I don't think Redfall at 30 means that, oh my God, Xbox has so many problems. Like,
no, that kind of thing.
Xbox does have problems. Don't get me wrong. No one's pointed those problems out more than me. Xbox has a marketing problem. Xbox has a they don't get it problem. Xbox has all sorts of problems. But Redfall being 30 is not an Xbox problem. It's a common this Arkane studio problem. And it's a Bethesda problem because they were marketing this game at 60 all this time and never said anything, when deep down they probably knew it wasn't going to be 60. And they flew all these influencers out to talk about how amazing Redfall is, and they ran it on PCs at 60 when knowing that the console port, which is the version that most of them would have cared about, is running at 30. That's the problem. That's where you lay your boots in. But it shouldn't be the influencers doing that. One of them should have had the balls to ask and raise the red flags. And it sounds like Colt did. That's my issue. So don't sit there and write your articles about Xbox having problems and Xbox sucks and Xbox this over Redfall being 30. Like, they're not. Those two things aren't linked to each other. Yes, Nick, go all in on Redfall being 30. Go all in on it.
Why don't you tell me how you really feel?
I don't. That's fine. I've got no issue with someone cracking the shit over Redfall being 30. Got no problem with it. It should be 60. And we've talked about that. But separate the issues with Xbox to Redfall being 30. That's just a dumb conflation that shouldn't exist. Like, what did you want? Did you want Phil to stop by Bethesda and go, hey guys, is the Series X version of Redfall 60? It's not. You better make it 60 or everyone's going to write bad articles about me. Like, what were you expecting? Like, again, this is the studio that's only ever done 30 FPS console ports. So all they've actually done is continue on the track they've always been on. This isn't defense, guys. For those of you that are probably in the chat going, he's just defending. This is not defense. I'm telling you a fact.
You haven't actually had any of that. Chat is with you.
This is a studio. I don't look at the chat, remember? I don't cheat on fucking Name a Game.
You were talking in there earlier.
This is a studio that has only ever done, and I'm not saying that's right either. Because remember, all we keep hearing is about how Arkane makes these amazing games that are never successful. Maybe it's because most of them are 30. Maybe that's part of the problem. But this is a studio that only does that. So they've just fallen in, and I feel like all the people that are wanting to sink the boots in aren't even thinking of that aspect.
They probably aren't. They probably not thought about it at all.
Why? Because they have to look like they're keeping it real, and I'm keeping it real, and I'm being truthful. No, you're actually not. You're actually being quite disingenuous because you're not considering any of the facts or any of anything in your attempt to get engagement and be seen as a neutral that's shitting on Xbox. That's actually what you're really doing. You're not being honest at all.
That's the biggest thing that irritates me more than anything else. Like the game being 30, I don't give a shit. I have a PC. I will play
I do give a shit. I was going to play it, but now I'm not going to play it. I
totally get it. And for those
about the game now,
for those that don't have a rig to just fall back on, like I get why you would be annoyed. Like all the while, I've been worrying about the quality of the shooting, right? Because
so have I. We've said it.
Previous FPS games from Arkane might have all the greatest systems in the world, but if you're playing on a console pad, they just didn't feel quite right. And that's been a constant concern. And then we've heard nothing but, no, the shooting feels okay. And like, great, it might feel okay at 60, but if it's going to feel, I know for a fact it won't feel okay at 30 because I don't like playing at 30 FPS.
No,
so,
it won't.
But seeing the amount of bullshit, what's the nice way to say this? No, there isn't a nice way to say it. The bullshit hot takes, bad thumbnails, acting like someone's lost, like there's a sport and a team is losing. It's so agonizingly lame that it just makes me want to curl up and die. Like I hate it so fucking much. It's so pointless.
I have no problem with it when it's warranted, though. This is the thing. For me, it's about when it's warranted versus when it's not. So my hot take, my clickbait is that I reckon the game's already dead on arrival because of this. That's my clickbait over exaggeration.
That is a hot
take. To me, the game being 30 and all this controversy around it, the game's already dead on arrival because it's surrounded by heavy hitters that are going to take all the attention away from it when it's so desperately needed positive attention. All we've kept hearing over the last 2 years or so since this game was announced was, Arkane needs a win. Arkane needs a win. Their games are, critical darlings, commercial flops. Arkane needs a win. So they go and release their game amongst all the biggest games of the year because Zelda's going to be game of the year. Diablo's going to be huge. Street Fighter's going to be huge now that it's back to being multi-plat. So they've released their game. So even in a best case scenario where Redfall is amazing and runs at 120 and it's unbelievable and it's amazing, it's already going to have a hard time purely because of when it's releasing. And I don't think even Jesse could disagree with that. So it was already going to have a hard time purely based on its release date. It
just depends on what metrics you're looking at versus what Xbox and Bethesda will look at for success. Because it's a Game Pass game. So just by default, it's got a different angle it's going for. And they have said in the past that Arkane games tend to have a very long tail because they get such good word of mouth. And over the years, they do well over time. They're not huge at the start.
I said, in a best case scenario where everything goes right with the game and it's an amazing 90 Metacritic game and it runs at 120, which everyone would love and blah, 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 blah. But that's not happening. Like we've seen bad gameplay demos from IGN, even though that was IGN being terrible at it. We've now finding out that the game runs at 30. So now it's got all these things going against it when it needed so much stuff going for it. On top of its bad release date.
Day one sales. which may be hurt by this.
Yeah.
Not just day one sales, even day one Game Pass engagement. Like, and I know this is anecdotal, so it's anecdotal. It's just my experience. I've already even had people IRL text me or ring me going, Redfall's 30. I'm like, yeah. They're like, okay, so I'm not even going to waste my time. So if just regular Joe Blows that aren't as hardcore into this stuff as we are have noticed it and are like, well, I'm not even going to try Redfall now, I assume there'll be a lot of others.
I think
I'm not going to try it now. I was going to. I'm not going to try it now. John's probably not going to bother with it now.
Not on console, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't have a gaming PC. For those of us that only have the console, they will probably not bother now. When Arkane needed people like us to try it on Game Pass. Will I wait for 60? I don't know. It depends on when the 60 FPS patch comes and what else I'm doing at the time. If I'm still balls deep in Street Fighter 6, then no. If I'm still playing Tears of the Kingdom, then no. If I'm playing the next COD, which may come to Game Pass, then no.
But if you played in a year, it ends up being the same for them. Because there is one thing like with
so why not delay it?
So why not delay it? Because they know more than us. They have more information. They're not anecdotal. They're large swath data analytic driven. I don't know of any company that we follow is more data analytic driven than Microsoft, and feeding that to Bethesda and assuming their numbers showing the mass market is going to be more upset by a delay than by a delay on the performance mode. Because I see people constantly saying they should delay. And if they've only just kind of realized that this is happening, it's too late. They can't do that. They're already full on going with their marketing. Like even doing it half a year early for Halo was a ridiculous amount of money to spend to completely change your plans. And while I doubt Redfall has that type of marketing budget, their discs are being printed. Their marketing's already done and paid for and scheduled. Everything that they're doing is already set. So if you want to push all that back to an indeterminate time, because you might not know when 60 is going to be ready, it gets really expensive and it pisses people off more because it would be delaying it. And I doubt they would have a date in their head that would be anytime soon. Otherwise, you would just say, in performance mode is coming in 2 months. Like if they knew it was exactly when it's going to be ready, they would just say it. Like in a month, or we're planning for a couple months after launch to have performance mode ready type of stuff.
Yeah.
So
they
just don't know.
That's why I was being generous when I said a month or two. It's probably not going to be.
Yeah, but also like calling it dead on arrival is for maybe getting the zeitgeist and becoming this huge seller or a big streamer. Well, the streamers are on PC; they don't care. But the actual metric that it'll be judged on for success is not what we think of and have been used to our whole life anymore on the platform. And that's always one thing that I come back to with Xbox, which is that's a part of it. Day one sales and getting these things are awesome and they want them, but it's not the only thing like it ends up being for Sony's games, where they're really huge at the start and only a couple of them really keep selling over time. And even then it's selling at less and less.
They stop playing after whatever. I'm just saying that this game needed, it's something that everyone's been saying. This game Arkane needs a win. This game needed everything going for it.
But that's us saying it, and we don't know enough. That's always my issue. Is like I think these conversations and these podcasts are fun and they're interesting, but in the end, none of us are experts and none of us have any actual inside knowledge. There might be people who know a few people that are insiders, but even then you're only getting the perspective of a couple of people. Even if you talk to 10 in a company that's got, 5,000 people working at it, depending on the publisher, you're only getting such a small piece of the pie for all the info. We can guess and we can assume, but that only means so much. And in the end, it doesn't really mean anything. Because if the gaming industry actually focused and talked about the biggest things in gaming, we would be talking about Minecraft and MapleStory and a little bit of Fortnite and PUBG Mobile and all these weird ass mobile games that people talk about because they make 900 times more money than any console game does.
That's the funny thing. Like hearing people whinge, like don't get me wrong, as a especially someone that likes FPS games, 30 FPS, I spit upon it. But then there are millions of people that will happily play Roblox at like 5 FPS. They're going to play the new Zelda game. I just saw Pixelbit G in the chat, Zelda at 18 FPS. There's no one going to be whinging about that particularly. They're going to be slapping Game of the Year on it, like without a worry or a care in the world.
I understand, Xbox... but that's also a slightly disingenuous argument. We all know that the Switch is garbage hardware. We all know that. So, and Nintendo hasn't touted their hardware as the most powerful console in the world. So,
no. But one game running at 30 because of the history of that.
We just had a big. I just had a big rant about how I'm not conflating this as a problem for Xbox. So I'm not. So don't try and make it out like I am. I just had the big rant. I'm talking about the fact that this game being 30 or 60 mattering or not. Like the Xbox Series X is a little bit more powerful than a Switch, isn't it? So
the Series X.
What did I say?
I was just a little bit more powerful than the Switch. I thought you were being sarcastic, which you were.
I was being sarcastic. It's a lot more powerful than the Switch. I was going to say.
I was like, I think the main issue is we don't know why it's 30. Like, I do think that when they came out with it, they should have given an explanation on why. I think it wouldn't have changed much. People are going to have their disingenuous stuff.
I think they should have said something earlier, personally. I think if they had said something 6 months ago... If they had said something 6 months ago and said, look, everyone, it's 60 on PC. We're trying for 60 on console. We're going to do our best.
A lot more than 60 on PC.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
The hardware. But
you know what I'm trying to get at. If they had said we're trying to get it to 60 for launch, yes, people still would have been upset. Don't get me wrong. But at least
did they know then? Did they know? Because optimization's the last thing. The trying to get things running the best you can on console when you've been making it on PC the whole time. And I know people say, oh, they canceled the PS5 version. No, they canceled the plan to start a PS5 version at some point. Like, we don't know when they figured this out. It's an issue of not having enough information. So people should be upset because we don't know and they didn't tell us. And that's why I wish they had given us the information on why, because this same engine running untethered co-op in a big open world was stuck at 30 in Gotham Knights, and they never pushed 60. And it's a very similar situation. It's a giant island. It's an open world with untethered co-op, and that same thing pushed it to 30.
At least Gotham Knights was never shown at 60.
Yeah,
Gotham Knights was always shown at 30, so everyone knew it was 30 well and truly in advance. And by the time that game came, everyone was over it. Like, everyone they were either going to buy it or not buy it, or play it or not play it. I think a lot of this is around the timing. They've dropped this a month before launch.
I am pretty sure Gotham Knights reveal was at 60, and the 30 FPS info came later. But there was a long time because they had a long delay about it. But it was
about to say, how long before launch? How long before launch did they reveal it was going to be 30? It was quite a bit before.
If they had let us know, okay, we've been pushing and we're just finding out that, we can't hit 60. We were trying to, and these are the reasons why. I think that would have helped the people who are actually, not disingenuous with their arguments about it, and people who are just looking, okay, I'm really disappointed. I'm not going to play it until it is, because I'm not going to play it first person.
That's what I said. My first reaction was, oh my God, it's 30. I'm not going to play it. That's it.
Yeah, like I get those reactions to it 100%, and people will always respond, "Oh, I'm allowed to be critical," and it's like, yes, you absolutely are, but I'm also allowed to push back when I think you're being overly critical or conflating things that don't actually make sense, or making broad assumptions about it. And that was happening a lot on social media.
Yeah, that's right. Most of the people were like talking about, "Oh my God, this is an Xbox problem." It's not an Xbox problem. It's an Arkane problem.
And it was a PR problem with how they showed the game and then how they announced it.
Which is Bethesda, not Xbox. I know Bethesda is under Xbox, but as we all know, Xbox has mostly left them alone to keep doing what they do. Like, if it's Hellblade, if it's I don't know what else, Avowed, then it's Xbox. It's their studio. It's the one they bought for themselves, the one that Matt Booty runs. then it's Xbox. When it's Bethesda, it's Bethesda.
Yeah.
Like, there's someone running Bethesda, and there's someone making these calls. And, you know, when Arkane discovered that it was only going to be 30, whenever that was, although, again, it's a studio that's only ever done 30 on console. And they said something like, yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm in this weird space where I'm on board with most of the quote unquote outrage over the game being 30. What I'm not on board with is how that's an Xbox problem. And oh my God, it's over for Xbox. Xbox is the worst. And
they're dropping out of the hardware race.
They should stop making consoles now and fire Phil and get. That's the stuff I can't get on board for. And I also can't get on board with influencers who are more than happy to be flown out there to play Redfall and get all excited, all of a sudden being the first ones to get their engagement on, to sink the boots in on over this issue. That I don't like. Like, if you're going to be the type of person that's keeping it real to shit on Xbox, then you should have said something at the event.
I think this is just.
You should have said something at the event.
Xbox as a brand just seems to have like all of its main content creators they just all seem to do this. And I honestly think, especially in the YouTube scene, it is because that's where the money is. That's where your clicks are going to live. Like make a stupid fucking face, do your thumbnail, talk about how everything's fucked. That's where your cash is. Congrats, you've done it. It's so irritating because it is so fake, and that's
But like I don't have an issue with people being upset about things in isolation, but context needs to be taken into it. There needs to be context. And again, I'm aware some of the things I'm saying, people might think I'm aiming at people that are friends of mine. I'm not. I'm not trying to do that. I'm honestly not. It's just like, again, most people that watch this show know me as the guy that rants at stuff about Xbox and complains about Xbox.
That's true.
And I wasn't like, it wasn't even my first thought to be like, oh God, Xbox is the worst because of this thing. My first thought was 30, gross. I'm not playing it at 30. And I moved on. Like, that was it. And all my issues were with Arkane and waiting to the month before to reveal this. And my issues were with Arkane flying influencers out to play the game on PC at 60 and say, don't ask questions about the console port. That's where I take issue.
We don't know we don't know how they said it. It could have just been no questions because they're literally PR people and they don't know. That's how you get around it. It's a PR event run by PR people. There's no devs there. They don't know. They're just like, no questions. It's just part of the agreement you sign. You go there, you get to play, you get to do a preview. That's it. It's not a dev interview like IGN gets when they do an IGN first.
Then you shouldn't be the ones sinking the boots in then. You can't have your flight. You can't have your flight paid for and take your happy snaps, but then also get your clicks on the other end talking about how much Xbox sucks because Redfall's 30. Spare me. Come on. You're muted.
My God, John, you're so unprofessional.
I know. I was about to say, I think that's about the end of that segment, right? I was like, that was a good mic drop.
If you were okay with being flown out there and taking your little social media pics, then you just maybe stay quiet on the issue rather than
or stick to the issue.
Or stick to the issue at hand rather than conflating.
Yeah. I like the main thing I like to point out to anyone who's watching or listening is we all agree. We all wish and think it should be 60. It's disappointing it's not. Hopefully the batch isn't too late. But the issue was conflating so much around Xbox as a brand with this other thing that I don't think matches the level of vitriol and anger that was out there.
That's right. I don't understand why it's... Yeah, like, oh man, this speaks to a deeper problem at Xbox. No, it doesn't.
And you can't preach to that positivity and it's just gaming and don't take it so seriously and all this stuff. And then when something happens and you can capitalize on it like this, you do. Like, it's hypocritical.
Just, that's fine. Like me, just don't play it. It's okay. And if the 60 FPS patch comes later and you're still interested in playing it, then play it. It's on Game Pass. Like, anyway, I don't know. I've probably lost.
Are you muted? Now. You're muted yet again.
Yeah, I know. Like, seriously, dude, just keep your mic on. You're not even vaping. Just keep your mic
farting
on.
a lot.
Yeah, I'm definitely doing that.
Yeah, but your mic won't pick up the farts. So just leave yourself unmuted.
Those British beans ones, you never know.
Yeah, come on, man. I'm on a Jez diet of beans on toast with cheddar cheese. But yeah, I think that we've said all we need to say.
I've probably lost some friends now. I hope there are people who, if they see this and think I was aiming it at them, I was not aiming it at
I've been told they secretly hate you already, so it's fine.
Oh, yeah, I know.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Don't worry. So, you know, I don't know if I should risk saying this right now.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm a person.
Don't do it.
I am a person who has eyes in a lot of places. Yeah, that's how I get a lot of the info I get. Even if you think I make it up, that's how I get a lot of the info that I get. Yeah,
Biggity. Thank you, Biggity.
I've
got a YouTube member.
I've leaked. Thanks, Biggity08, for becoming a YouTube member.
I'll add you to the list.
You know, I've leaked some stuff about third parties, Microsoft, Sony, even a little bit of Nintendo stuff here and there. So if I have eyes in all these places, fair to say I've probably got eyes in these private Discords and private group chats you're all in. And I see some of the stuff that gets said about me. I know how people really feel about me. That might be why I'm saying some of the things.
Look, I'm sorry, Nick. I just wanted to get clout by going after you with all these people. I'm sorry. I don't actually mean it.
Fair chance I have eyes. Fair chance I have eyes in some of these private Discords that you're all in and group chats that you think I can't see.
We have had a few super chats and we've got some community questions on the topic.
Yeah, let's do the community questions on the Redfall.
Let's get to super chats. Okay. I think
there's
the best.
3 of them.
I think the earliest
total.
super chat was Creaky Legs.
No, there was another one, but it's gone. I can't find it anymore. I apologize.
It'll be on YouTube if you go into the YouTube channel.
I'm there. I'm going in. I'll get it for you. Yep.
But I'll start with Creaky Legs for now. Creaky Legs. This is the best episode of Golden Girls in a while.
All right, I'm on the super chat thing.
Jason.
Mike.
Iron Mike.
Iron Mike, $2. Thank you. It's just clout chasing and engagement trapping.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
For some, not for all, but for some.
Jason, $8 super chat. Out of curiosity, what does the data say on what the majority of gamers play? Quality versus performance? I've heard that apparently many choose quality over performance.
Games generally default to quality and people just leave it there, or if it starts on performance, they'll go back.
Crazy, which I find crazy.
Yeah, I
because
man, if there's a performance mode, I'm switching to it. Like,
got a couple more super chats. Holy shit.
Time.
2 more.
Because I played Horizon Forbidden West in resolution mode, and I was like, I had to switch that back so fast. You were lucky. My eyes were hurting, my head was hurting. I'm like,
launch mode, performance mode was actually worse, but thankfully it's very good now.
Oh, performance mode is stunning.
Yeah,
my
it's
God,
great. It's
stunning.
Very nice looking now.
Oh, yeah. Horizon in performance mode is, oh my God. I think it gets close to 120. Like, my eyes might be deceiving me, but I reckon it's getting close to 120 there. It's over 60. It's over 60. And I've got a VRR TV, don't forget. I reckon it's well above 60.
I've got smoothing mode on.
Yes. Motion flow. God, that motion flow shit.
2 more super chats.
Ursel. Breath of the Wild is a hidden map game. That is all.
Yes. Thank you. It is. 1000%.
Shane G, thanks for keeping it real, lol. I assume that's a joke of some sort. I wasn't keeping it real. I don't even like that phrase.
I think that could be intimated as you're not. People say they're keeping it real, and then they're kind of not, whereas you actually were.
Okay, so here's an example. As I said earlier, when I was playing King of the Arcade, I said the dev sent me that game. I was up front and I said the dev sent me the code for the game and I played it. Now, I didn't sit there and say, oh my God, it's the most amazing game because I felt bad that the dev sent it to me. I said it. Jesse showed the footage. You saw it. I said it for what it was. It's an indie game through and through. There's a bit of jank to it. There are moments where I felt like maybe these guys were experimenting. But I'd like to think
he was just joking. He was joking. He said.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying. I'd like to think that I am fairly upfront, whether that's good or bad. Again, anyone who watches this show knows that when it's time to sink the boots in, we sink them. We sink them in. And me specifically, I go in on inane stuff that no one cares about.
Yeah, like that 4K dashboards.
4K dashboards and connect adapters. Like I go in on stuff that no one gives a rat's about. No one goes in on Xbox more than me. That doesn't make me a neutral or whatever. Like I prefer Xbox. I've always said that.
Yeah.
I just, I could easily go on a rant on how absolute shite PlayStation's parental controls and child account system is. Because it's absolutely disgraceful. And it's actually the one thing Microsoft executes flawlessly, which is how child accounts and parental controls happen. On Xbox, if my son wants to play a game he shouldn't be playing, it asks me or my wife for permission, and we either approve or reject it. Nice and simple. On PlayStation, oh my God, my son's getting his PS5 soon, so I've tried to set everything up in advance for him. He can't even see games in the store if they're above his age bracket. He can't even see them. So I bought a month of PlayStation Plus so that I can upload all his saves to the cloud, attach all the PlayStation Plus collection games, and I went there and none of them appeared in the store. There was a blank store. I'm like, what is this?
What's going on?
The only game that showed up was Sackboy. Now, that's the only one that matters, granted. But none of the other games showed up. And then I went to play Fortnite and it said, sorry, only an adult can view this game. I went to the security settings and I've set Fortnite as an allowed game for my son, but he can't play it. I'm like, get your shit together, PlayStation. Seriously, this stuff is simple. I just want my son to play Fortnite on his PlayStation. You want me to give you more money? We're giving you money for a PlayStation, and what, my son's not going to be able to play it because he's 7?
It is a bit ridiculous.
Protect the children by not letting them play. That's how you protect them, by not letting them play anything. Idiots. Like, just...
Tell me how you really feel, bro.
Yeah. But it's true. Like, I can't remember. I'm a platform guy. I'm not much of a game guy. I'm a platform guy, so I care about those more inane platform things, like sharing on Xbox, and how garbage that is to this day. I care more about that stuff, which is why I care about your dashboard looking nice, Jesse. I spend a lot of time on dashboards. Most people play games on their consoles. I look at dashboards.
Sounds about right. Sounds accurate.
Like, oh my God. Anyway, I've probably lost a lot of friends in the Xbox podcast scene tonight. Although many of them probably were not my actual friends to begin with, but still.
You might get away with it. You never know.
My eyes see more things than people realize. Look at me in my eyeball.
Oh God, I'm making that an emoji for the public server now. Community questions for this Redfall subject.
Wait. don't we want to thank our patrons and do name
community questions
No.
for this Redfall subject?
Just for this subject. So
What?
There's a bunch of Redfall ones. We should do them now. Starting with Mort. We get the We just did a whole. This is the Redfall segment. We get the Redfall community questions out of the way.
makes sense.
It's going to make the timestamp so much worse.
It'll be fine.
Who cares? We don't do them. You do.
Mort. Yeah, but I've got Greek Easter to go to.
Yeah, that's why it's faster. Go.
Mort. Hello there. Do you think the next Halo will run at 30? Hugs, Mort. Mate, Halo's got no chance of ever running at 30 ever again.
It's an RPG. You never know. What if it's a spin-off?
And if it ever did have a chance, this Redfall controversy just ended that chance. Every Xbox studio right now is like, quick, get the game to 60.
Not Bethesda Game Studios.
Put the performance mode in, quick. Get it in there. Get it in there. Crack.
Todd doesn't care.
Huh?
Todd Howard doesn't care. They're pushing whatever they push. I do have to say, if you look at that Redfall gameplay, you can see him playing on a dev kit in the background, and it looks better than 30. But I would hope it's probably just an unlocked mode.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't like seeing all the outrage videos on YouTube, maybe get ready for September when Starfield comes out and isn't 60.
Oh,
we
find out in June. We'll find out in June, I bet.
Get ready to ignore some more thumbnails. Starfield's 30.
Speaking of 30 FPS games on Xbox, Microsoft Flight Simulator, if you don't have VRR, it's capped at 30. But if you do have VRR, it goes unlocked. And boy, does that thing seem to run close to 60 or above all the time after the latest patch. That runs phenomenally well now. That only happened a couple days ago.
If you want, if you want to solve your 60 FPS woes, go buy yourself a TV.
Yeah.
That's
been on OLED.
That's how you fix it. Jesse Brother. Sup, gentlemen. Not going to lie, I am not thrilled about Redfall only being 30 to start. That said, how much time do you think it will take for them to bump that FPS up? And do you think they should have an update before launch explaining when they expect to increase the FPS? Also, which YouTuber would you predict has the most embarrassing take on this? I've pissed off enough of the Xbox YouTube community. I'm not giving my opinion on that one.
Let me just cruise YouTube for my usual suspect of who the worst one is.
Is it the guy that beat real bad in Exoprimal? Oh, sorry.
In honor of the Mario movie, who would you guys say got the worst of it from this franchise? Bob Hoskins or Captain Lou Albano? Who's that?
He was the Mario on the TV show.
Ah, was it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a wrestling guy.
I used to watch that TV show because it had the Zelda cartoon as well. Well, excuse me, princess. I used to love that Zelda cartoon.
I think the TV show is more well thought of, even though it's also very bad in modern context. Yeah, but it's not as it's not reviled like the movie is. So Bob Hoskins got it worse.
Oh God, Lou Albano. Oh, he died in 2009. I didn't know that.
Oh, he was always old. He was born old.
He was born in 1933.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I thought I was old. Wow.
He was a pro wrestler.
Was he really?
Mm-hmm.
It's the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Yeah, that's why that show had like a lot of wrestlers and stuff in it.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. I used to watch that as a kid. And the cartoon and all. I used to like that. It was good. Even though I was a Sega kid, I used to watch that Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
The thumbnail was as bad as I was expecting.
Was it like
Craters in Mars?
It was just bad.
Okay, Omen. I guess Omen's one counts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Redfall or Minecraft Legends will get a higher OpenCritic review? For reference, at the time of this comment, the OpenCritic on Minecraft Legends 72. Oh, God, that's another rant I could go on. I feel like this controversy will subconsciously affect.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Scores.
They'll panic.
Because remember how we were talking about Hi-Fi Rush? Thanks to us and Jesse single-handedly setting the narrative on Hi-Fi Rush, no one got a chance to shit on it. Now, this has happened. That's now set the narrative for Redfall. And Redfall, I wouldn't be surprised if Redfall is like the lowest reviewed Arkane game because of this stuff. I
think it'll still beat 72.
Yeah, I think it will beat 72. Minecraft Legends Metacritic is I don't think it's fair what they've given it. 72.
72 is okay.
It's fine.
By normal people's standards, remember, by normal person's standards, 72 is perfectly fine.
There were a lot of bad reviews. I say bad reviews. There were a lot of reviews that were expecting Minecraft Legends, a child's franchise, to be an Age of Empires, take on it. And it's like, that's not ever what it was set out to be. But they were reviewing it from the angle of, why isn't this like Age of Empires 2? And I'm like, But yeah, I digress. Yeah, I think it'll do better. Redfall will do better than Legends.
I hope so. Again, Arkane needs the win, so hopefully.
I mean, their win was them getting bought by Xbox, so they weren't shut down because they didn't sell anything.
Yeah,
maybe because a lot of their games come out at 30. Good old Collingwood. Hello, John, Nick, and Jesse. So, the Redfall quality mode controversy. As you probably discussed earlier in the podcast, a lot of voices along the Xbox content creator circle have criticized Arkane Austin's decision. That's not all they've criticized. That and the initial decision to have the game be online for single-player use have had many question the decision-making at the studio. That's right. That is another thing worthy of your ire. But it seems to me that the decisions were come too lightly, that there is an assumption that announcing these things isn't controversial. I can imagine Arkane Austin shocked at the reception they got. That would be shocking in and of itself if they were shocked. I would like to think that the studio genuinely wants to release a good game to the public and release improvements during the lifetime of the game. But there is a sentiment among the gaming public that there is some arrogance, that Arkane Austin might be saying, here you go, you have it now. So what is Arkane Austin thinking when they release these statements? Is there a kind of thinking that is divorced from what the gaming public wants? Not necessarily cluelessness or arrogance, more an inability to read the room. I think of, we've done a good job, now you get to play it, but not seeing that some of the things you have put in the game may not be what people want. And being it so late in development cycle, what do you do in your messaging? Good old Collingwood. This also goes for Warner Brothers, Rocksteady, Suicide Killer, Justice League. Well, this is what I was talking about when I said, be outraged at Arkane specifically. This is an Arkane thing. It's not a wider Xbox thing. This is an Arkane thing. I said it was silly to not try and get it to 60. It was silly to, like, 2013, even though it was a decade ago, for some people, it's like it was yesterday. And apparently the internet hasn't improved since 2013. So something being always online is still the worst thing on earth.
Yeah.
So I can understand why some people think maybe Arkane Austin are a little bit tone deaf and don't understand the world they live in. There is an element of that. They might not understand the world they live in.
I think there's also an element where you can't go to the public often for this type of stuff. You just can't. They don't know how it works. You're not going to get knowledgeable. They're obviously doing tons of pre-testing and stuff. They were doing it nonstop where they're inviting people in to work, to give their feedback on the game. But like putting things out in public and trying to get feedback that way doesn't work. They do get people's ideas and what they want and what they're thinking about stuff nonstop. And they pay companies a ton of money to review their games internally as they're making them. And they'll talk about, well, this is, projecting at an 83 on Metacritic on our internal projecting, which is very accurate because they get people who just know this shit. They care about that type of stuff, but they can't pay attention to the public because when you see the online social media discourse, it is so full of disingenuous, clickbaity people who just want to argue. And I don't just mean creators. I mean just the public. Like, we all know how bad Twitter and Reddit are. They're not a good place to go for any type of useful feedback. They don't do constructive criticism. They do angry, engagement-driven criticism. Yeah,
that's fair.
And you can skip the BatOutaHades one. It's not actually about Redfall. It's about something else.
Yeah,
and then
that's pretty much it for the Redfall one. So we'll go to things.
Yeah. All right.
Cool. That means it's time for Name a Game.
Yep. Pressing the button.
Oh, buzzers.
Patrons. Things. Chat, if you're new to this and you've never sat and watched the XboxEra podcast before, this is Name a Game, a section where Jesse takes a funny little game, uses synonyms with new versions of this.
As soon as that music
StreamYard goes wonky sometimes when, it's fine now, I think.
Yes, it seems fine for me. So an example would be, Perfect Dark could become Immaculate Shadow, right? And then that we would have to guess the name of that game. There's usually a theme, and we'll hand it over to the Quizmaster to tell us what that theme is in a moment. But first, Nick and I have to pick a patron to play for, and that patron will win a game, depending upon who wins. So if you're not a member of the Patron, you can join via patreon.com/XboxEra. And you can get a chance to win a game every week. If we pick you to possibly be a winner. We also do giveaways and stuff on our Discord, which you should also join. There it is. Join the Discord. I just saw in the chat as well, Sick Mechanico, why didn't you provide news that you got a new map in the Halo Infinite playlist? Yeah, I kind of forgot. It was a map I made back in November. Curfew's now in Halo Infinite. Yay. I also got a Halo tattoo, which is there. Look at it. Yeah. It's at the worst stage.
That's permanent.
Yeah. So it's your face.
It's a permanent tattoo. You've got that there forever. I'm just letting you know.
Yep. Very pleased with it. It's very cool. But I've never had a tattoo before.
When you're old and wrinkly and whatever, that thing's still going to be there.
It was my first tattoo, and the people in the shop were quite funny. There was a girl next to me, this young 20-something, and she was getting one done on her back of her thigh. She was literally sitting in the chair straight in front of me with her arse out in a thong. So, okay. But I've never had a tattoo before.
I might be
it's
looking
going through the
flaking
the skin off stage, which is absolutely gross. It all just goes what, and then just flakes off in bits. It's rank. Anyway.
Okay, so
I
am playing for Creaky Legs. John is playing for Vinny 13. I've made the decision for you.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Who won last week?
You did.
Did I win?
Yeah.
Did I win?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just updating my cheat. Brought to you by Microsoft Office 365. Okay. Yeah. What's the topic for today? Games that run at 30.
Oh.
I was close.
Base Xbox One.
Close. Hold on. Game? Didn't you say reviewed well? Okay. Okay. Jesse is muted, but we can hear you.
Okay. There we go. It's because OBS is stupid, and even though it's literally set for this Yeti mic, it just doesn't work
Jesse,
until I leave.
Muted,
Shut up, idiot! I fixed it already. No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I fixed it. So it's on Yeti. It was on Yeti Classic, and then I had to go off of my Yeti Classic and go back to it because otherwise OBS just didn't want to work because it's stupid. Because
I'm going to read the chat because people were saying he's muted, so I had to read the chat for that.
So again, this week it is well-reviewed 30 FPS games on the base Xbox One. That is the category for this week.
Okay.
So they might have had a 60 FPS version on the One X. This is about them being 30 on the One.
I reckon there's a game that I know you're going to have, and I'm trying to already think of the synonyms in my head for when that game comes.
All right, now both of you pretend to close chat, and we'll get started.
I'm losing 6-8.
Losing like a fox. All right. First one is...
all part of my grand plan.
For the very first one, we're going with Maroon Defunct Amends 2. Maroon Defunct Amends 2.
I know maroon. I know what we're starting with, but
Nick and Mechanico.
Red Dead Redemption 2.
Correct.
I was going to say Red Faction, and in my head, I'm like, if I say red,
Red Faction.
if I say red, it'll give John the clue. And I'm like, faction, defunct. No, faction's not defunct. And then there's no Red Faction 2 on Xbox One.
There is like back compat, so it actually runs at a lot higher. That's one thing I was running into. Is like, this probably runs at 30. Oh no, actually it's a friggin' Dark Souls 2, which actually runs unbelievably well. Yeah. So, all right, Nick is up, and I got to give you your point. There we go. 1-0. Going back to the old scoreboard, I think it works well.
Oh, okay.
Nick is up 1-0.
You cut out then. I'm like, don't tell me you just asked and you were cut out.
All right. Number 2 is one word, but it is a compound word for the video game. So you're going to get 2 words with a hyphen in the middle, but it's a one-word game. One-word compound game. It is Inferno-Stare. S-T-A-R-E. Inferno Stare. S-T-A-R-E.
Again, I don't want to give John the clue. I know the first part of this.
Nick.
Firewatch.
Correct.
Yeah.
What is Red Eye, Ursel? The hell?
What?
He said Red Eye in chat. I don't know. I'm trying to guess what that would even... What is... There's a game called Red Eye?
Again, the first word you're giving, I know the word. Like maroon. Red's okay. A game with red. Inferno. Fire. I'm like, fire. But if I say fire, I give John the clue.
Yeah, so don't.
And then he gets it.
He's not watching chat. Hasn't got one yet. All right, next one is...
I'm just faster than the chat.
Inevitability, the appropriated sovereign. Inevitability, the appropriated sovereign. Inevitability, the appropriated sovereign.
Is John muted? I can't hear him.
He just hasn't said a word.
I haven't said anything.
I'm trying to focus on the appropriated sovereign because I don't know what the hell inevitability is. Xbox One.
Sik and Mechanico.
Is it Destiny the Taken King?
Correct. Yes, you are correct. I like that one.
Shit.
All right, what to do next? I think I'll do this. I'm trying to make them not too easy.
That game that I'm expecting better come up.
I thought you were expecting Red Dead.
No.
All right, buzzers cleared, points given. The next one is Giant Stalker Sphere. Giant Stalker Sphere. Giant Stalker Sphere.
I know the first word and I know the last word. I just don't know the word in the middle.
Giant Stalker Sphere.
Ursul's really bad at this. Don't look at his things to try to get an answer.
I know the first and the third words. Or at least I think I do, but I just can't think of a game with them. We know what giant is. We know what a sphere is. It's the stalker part that's throwing me.
There are no titans in this game.
Giant. So large, big. Stalker.
You still got it before them, Ursel.
Sphere. Circle.
It was a
ball.
Sik and Mechanico.
A ball.
I think your words are probably a little bit pushing it, but is it Monster Hunter World?
Yeah. How's that pushing it?
Giant is not a monster, but
it is literally a synonym for monster when you on the source.
Did the chat get that?
Bro, I've not even been looking at my
They've gotten the ones you got too as well.
I've literally
Nick.
been like this.
They got the ones you got as well, Nick. So,
Man, Monster Hunter World. Here I am. I'm saying ball. I'm saying big. I'm saying circle. And Monster Hunter World.
mm-hmm. Look, you guys can get mad at Merriam-Webster, but yeah, eat shit.
The buzzer.
For the win, it is going to be Tenant Vial 2 Innovated.
Oh god.
Oh,
Nick.
Shit. Innovated screwed me. Resident Evil 2?
That's good. They didn't put remake in there, so that's good enough. I just had Innovated in there as remake. RE2 remake.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So, you win.
Congrats. Yeah. I was about to say, I was going to go, oh no.
Because I put it in there to make it a little trickier, but in the end, it's not actually a part of the name. They just called it Resident Evil 2.
Then I was about to be like, oh no, did he mean that the Revelations one, where it had the episodes and whatever?
I gave it to him with just the friggin' Resident Evil 2, Ursula. You be quiet.
I won again. Nice.
You guys can say, oh, it's too loose of a synonym. Take it up with thesaurus.com. I don't give a shit.
Congratulations, Creaky Legs. You won.
He's not allowed to win as a member of the website, sorry. I'm kidding. None of us get paid. Doesn't matter. All right. Next one, we get through them pretty quick, is, and I will reset the buzzer. I know.
I got all mine quite fast too, by the way.
Who cares? Not us. The next one is Palatial Vandalism Whip 5. Palatial Vandalism Whip 5. Nick.
Grand Theft Auto 5.
Correct. That's an easy one. That's why I saved it.
Closed my buzzing, so I just logged back in. My bad.
Awesome. Now it looks like shit on the thing with it says sick disconnected on it.
Sorry.
So annoyed. You got it right. I'm not even going to give it to you. Next one is... Everything's set. Outcome 4. Outcome 4.
Result 4.
Sick Mechanico.
Fallout 4.
Correct.
What? Outcome?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You don't. It doesn't.
Aftermath.
Your guess doesn't matter. It is a real term. The Fallout.
so.
The outcome. What happened? When people think of what Fallout means, it has the definition.
Yeah, I think more of a fallout. Like when you have a falling out with someone, it's not an outcome with someone. You've had a falling out. Like you're not friends
But that's
with them.
falling out, not Fallout. English is stupid, and it matters. Clearing the buzzers. The next one is... We're almost done. Oop, I hit the gut bush. We'll let that play. We'll actually pretend that we were promoting Manscaped correctly. Use the Lawnmower 10.0, wherever it is.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yep.
Oops.
Terrible. Next one is Infringed 2. Infringed 2.
Infringed.
Mm-hmm. Get 2 more after this, and that's it.
Infringed. I know what infringed means. I'm trying to think of a synonym for infringed. That's a video game title.
And look, this is going to be one you guys can yell at thesource.com. Don't care. It's listed there when you type in the name.
Infringed 2.
Infringed. You have your rights infringed.
Yeah, I like
Trespassed upon.
to
betrayed.
infringe upon someone. To infringe upon someone. Or upon something. You
All right.
infringe
In
upon.
the interest of time, the studio that made this game has been a big part of this episode.
So it's a Bethesda game.
Dishonored.
Yep.
Cringe 2.
Dishonored 2.
Yeah, Dishonored.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you don't have this game that I was expecting, man, I'll be super disappointed in you.
Yeah, I've been waiting for it as well, Nick.
Yeah.
Probably don't. The next one is
Like a glorious sunset.
Nope. The next one is Progress of the Pit Pirate. Progress of the Pit Pirate.
What? Progress of the Pit Pirate.
Mm-hmm.
The hell's a pit pirate?
Progress of the Pit.
I was very surprised to see the word pit when I put this word into thesaurus.com.
I have no idea.
Well, I mean, you almost got there. You almost got there, Ursel.
Progress of the Pit Pirate.
Mm-hmm.
Progress. But it's the progress word that's throwing me.
I know. It is literally a direct synonym for the first word in this game.
Progress of the Pit Pirate.
The chat. One person in chat got it. Took a little while. So now Nick can look over there and see it and pretend it's only John that does it.
I got mine so quick today. I got all of mine so fast today. The ones that I actually got. I didn't sit there after. I didn't sit there after like 10 minutes of not
Timer's
getting it.
going.
Oh, Monster Hunter World.
7 seconds. 6.
I got mine fast.
3, 2, 1. Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Oh, okay.
Rise.
It is a direct synonym. I know.
Oh,
You can say whatever you want. It is. That's the language.
Lift of the Pit Pirate.
I've already done those. I gotta find different ways, and so I take the other words that are also listed alongside the word rise. And the final one.
Lift of the Cave Pirate.
Yes, I've used lift in before. Like I've done it before, Nick. I've got to use different things.
Lots of what you've used. Wyvern, whatever that dragon word is. You've used that like 3 times.
A wyvern is what we all think a dragon is. A dragon's actually a big ass worm-like son of a bitch.
Yeah,
Wyverns are the ones with 4 legs.
That word in this segment many times. You could have easily said lift and.
But I've used lift before. I've done Rise of the Tomb Raider before. I've got to change it up, and that is a synonym for rise. You whiny baby! My God. Last one. Perishing Fluorescence. Nick.
Dying Light.
Correct.
See, I get mine fast.
Yeah,
He pinged us. He was literally a 10th of a second behind you.
Yeah.
But he would have got it wrong.
Nick's the best. Nick's the best, man.
My goodness.
I am.
Well, there was another award-winning edition of Name Game. See you all later.
Thrilling every time. Oh dear, oh dear.
God.
That was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right, chat?
Yeah.
It was less
fun,
rage-inducing than the one with a couple weeks ago. Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we'd love to thank our patrons.
We do. We do like to thank our patrons. How do you like to thank them, Nick?
I like to thank them by telling them that, even though Redfall might be 30 frames per second, you know what doesn't run at 30 and runs
This is good.
higher?
This is good. The
30?
XboxEra Podcast, I believe, runs smooth.
The Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 goes much faster than 30.
Wow.
I don't know. Let's call it RPM, I guess, because the motor in there's going. So the Lawnmower 4.0 runs it faster than 30. So if you want a 60 or 120 RPM experience when you're trimming your balls, then you go to manscaped.com and use our code XboxEra for 20% off and free shipping. But yes, the XboxEra podcast runs at 1440/60, which maybe Arkane Austin should have thought about.
They're doing a little bit. They're doing a little bit more than I am, though, with what they're creating. Just a smidge, you know.
Just a little bit. Not like
all their stuff moves and you can control it. It's a little different.
I mean, there's plenty of games that are doing a lot of stuff that still run at 60.
But Unreal Engine 4 games, open world, untethered co-op.
Even Halo Infinite runs at 120.
Not untethered co-op, though. And not Unreal Engine 4, which is not a very good open world engine.
Still. It's open world. It's co-op. Lots of physics.
Ursula, they forget by next week.
Going on. Lots of stuff going on. I was going to say that gamers have the memory of a goldfish, but this is very close to launch. That's why had they said something a while back, everyone would have forgotten about it by the time it came.
Yeah, it would have popped up again.
They did not.
I don't know.
But yeah.
Anyway.
Yes, indeed. We do like to say thank you to our patrons. And if you enjoy everything that Xbox Era does, you too can be fantastic and visit patreon.com/Xbox Era and get a chance to win games every week, as well as definite cool swag and fancy t-shirts and stickers and all sorts of fun stuff.
Exclusive podcasts.
Yeah, exclusive podcasts. In fact, yesterday we recorded episode 2 of Sik and Nick's Flicks, where we discussed the wonderful new Super Mario Brothers movie and an awful film that Nick made us watch because apparently it was okay. It wasn't, but you can enjoy us ripping on it for a while if that's your thing. The links are there forever, so you can always go back and watch it. But it was fun. It's a fun time, so you should probably do that. YouTube members as well get similar perks on our Discord, get exclusive access to the Patreon lounge and on the forums, where you can ask community questions every week. We did a bunch of them because they were relating to the Redfall topic, but we have more, and we're going to do those now to round off the show.
Yep. I'm just sending a message in the private chat.
Yeah, I just saw it.
Yeah, I just got a text message.
Hurry up, go.
That's the beauty of iOS and Mac OS linking everything together.
Go.
I get text messages on my computer, and I just got that text message saying, "Hey, just letting you know, this might happen."
That happens with Android and Windows too. You can just use the phone link.
If I suddenly disappear live on air, these two know why.
I will be so happy.
Okay. Community questions. Hytham G. So, want to recap to me about the Valheim rumor?
I don't know.
Just curious to know, and along with Ubisoft Plus on Xbox, your recap, Nick? P.S. My Ramadan is almost over. I have less than 10 days to go. Can't wait to eat again. P.S.S. I've watched the Mario movie, not spoiling it for those who haven't seen it yet, but awesome movie. By the way, and if you do a Nintendo podcast, that'd be cool since we can enjoy a Nintendo talk. I am looking into the Nintendo podcast. Time is probably the biggest factor. The Valheim rumor. What Valheim?
The only
rumor?
thing I saw recently was that it was like they have 6 months of exclusivity, but there's still no guarantee of a PlayStation version after that because the team's very small. Other than that, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I know. I was told Valheim's coming to Xbox a long, long time ago, and I never ever.
It's out now. My mate's been playing it all week.
I know, but I'm saying I got the DM saying it was coming to Xbox like, I think a year. If I open up OneNote and check, it was like a year or more ago. I just never leaked it because I think I forgot. Ubisoft Plus on Xbox, same thing. The DM was like, God, it was years ago. I don't know why it took so long. It was actually supposed to happen, I think, last year. It was actually supposed to happen late last year, so I don't know what happened there. Next.
Skedaddle, I think.
Okay, Skedaddle. With you guys recently having Cliffy B guesting on the show, did he share any of his future plans with you off air?
No.
I never had the opportunity to play Lawbreakers back in the day, so his tease on Twitter has me really excited for a potential return. In many interviews, he had expressed regret about not bringing the game to Xbox. If you were to guess, how do you think he would go about bringing it back? I saw those tweets. He said he got a tweet from a lawyer about Lawbreakers.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
He talked about what he...
He also tweeted, like, it's not what you think or something. But yeah, I mean, that studio's not around, so I have no idea.
Yeah, and he said something like, then he tweets, I saw the other tweets. He said that on our show about how bad he feels about what happened and people moved and people just wanted to stick the boots into that game and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so again, I had my thoughts on Lawbreakers. I still think Lawbreakers would have found more success. I'm not saying it would have found success or huge success. I think it would have found more success had it been on Xbox than PlayStation.
I think that's a fair.
And anyone that questions that better not be a person who also turns around and says, you don't need to release JRPGs on Xbox because they don't sell on Xbox. Well, that's the same argument, reframed to suit your own personal viewpoint.
Yeah.
Cliffy B, whether he likes it or not, is forever attached to Xbox. I told him that to his face. Whether you like it or not, dude, because Gears was so amazing and so impactful and so big for the Xbox 360, you are forever attached to Xbox, whether you like it or not, mate. And in the end, the Xbox was still the shooter box. Look at Titanfall. Titanfall 1 was more successful than Titanfall 2, despite Titanfall 2 releasing on PlayStation 4 as well. Like, there's just that attachment. Like Metal Gear Solid would most likely always sell better on PlayStation because that franchise is associated with PlayStation. Even if Xbox, I wouldn't be surprised if any Metal Gear games that came out during PS3 and 360 probably sold better on PS3, even though the 360 was leading most of that gen.
Yeah. Before the next question, I do have one thing to show you from Ursel of the XboxEra team, Nick. It'll pop up on here.
What?
You saying that Zelda Breath of the Wild is not a map game. I'm looking at a map that's got a lot of icons on a very large playing area. That looks like a map game to me. I don't know. What do you think?
There's not, but that is stuff all icons compared to Ubisoft games and Forza Horizon.
Doesn't matter.
Games.
Those are, you can say they're over the top.
All.
That's not Jack All. There's like 50 things there.
But that's such a dumb argument.
It's
Nearly
not.
every game in existence has a map. Nearly every game in existence has a map with icons on it. Does that mean they're all map games?
Yes. Yes, if they're a large open world map game, it's Zelda hides the checklist. It is a map game. It is not to the level of other map games. They don't put icons for every Korok seed, or you would have over 1,000 icons on that map. It's how much they show, how much is obfuscated. It is a checklist map game.
No.
What do you mean no? Literally,
Ubisoft
look
games
at
are
it.
Map games. It's not. Every game has a map. Even 2D games have map.
Ubisoft games are over-the-top map games.
Metroidvanias have maps. What's your point? Metroid Prime had a map, and that map had icons.
Depends on how
Doesn't
many.
mean Metroid Prime is a map game.
Well, I mean, it is. You're clearing a map out. But the current use of map game, this Breath of the Wild, is 100% a checklist map game that does not show you the checklist. You fanboy.
Yes. Salva, Forza Horizon is a driving map game. 100% it is. It is a driving map game. Like, for sure.
And yes, Gregory,
the reason I don't play it anymore.
The icons show up after. That's what we're saying. It's an obfuscated map game. But they are there. They are things to go find and go do, just like a map game, except for instead of you click it, it tells you exactly where to go. It is a checklist of things that you have to do in this game, and then they become icons on the map. That's all. Next question.
Next question. BatOutaHades. Gents. Wait, or did we already? Oh, no.
No, we didn't.
I'm sure this week's hot takes are focused on having to wait for 60 FPS in Redfall, but if you allow me to divert our outrage to a topic flying under the radar, did you see the formal announcement of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League's delay? Yes, we did. Didn't Sony promise us that game would release in the first half of 2023 at their state of play? And now it's not even coming out in the second half of 2023. I'll bring the pitch box if you supply the torches. That's how this is supposed to work, right? Is that true? Did Sony say that?
Well, they said May 20. Well, they had it had a date, and they're just saying, "Yep, it's coming May."
Like, that was there. It was at their state of play, right?
Yeah.
So that's rough for Sony because they've got Final Fantasy 16. They've got a state of play coming on.
It already happened.
Didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, it already happened.
It happened.
Yeah, so
the state of play for Final Fantasy 16 happened,
so
and
they've
there'll be
got
a
that,
showcase.
And they've got Spider-Man. They've got Spider-Man 2,
and most likely,
but Suicide Squad's not a first-party game.
But it had PlayStation marketing, and it's now not releasing in 2023.
So why aren't all the YouTubers doing their thumbnails for the fact that Sony broke a promise on a game that wasn't coming out when they said it would? Where's all the YouTube thumbnails? Where's all the outrage? Because apparently Microsoft broke a promise, and that contract was binding, and Microsoft should be held to the coals for it for the rest of eternity. So where's Sony being? Where's all the keeping it real content creators that are holding Sony to account?
Yeah, you get it, Mr. Badbit.
Mr. Badbit in the chat. I'm on it.
Where are they? Well, come on, guys. Let's get to it. What's going on? Come on. Sony broke a promise, man. Those contracts are binding, apparently. Maybe they should sue. Maybe they should subpoena.
Did they ever promise to have Spider-Man always be on PlayStation Plus? Because that's leaving.
Oh, my God. A first-party game is leaving Plus.
Just in time to make you have
creators.
Just in time to make you have to buy it as the sequel's coming, if you want to play them all.
Come on, guys. Let's do this. Or maybe we need an invite to the studio to play the game first. And then we'll get outraged. Anyway.
Last one.
DeoGame. Hi all. In light of some of the recent Minecraft Legends reviews, there seems to be a disparity between those who played primarily PvP and those who did not. Those who played primarily PvP seem to love it, with some arguing it even takes the game up 2 grade levels.
Yeah.
With that said, how much of the modes should a reviewer engage in, and what can be done on the reviewer and publisher side to ensure they have ample time? Is a critic who jumps into PvP once or twice enough? Similarly, is a critic who skips the campaign entirely and just opts for PvP all the time enough? What of Redfall? Is it best to review single player, review co-op, play twice and review both? How do you achieve that balance? P.S. If the game wasn't going to run at 60 at launch on console, they should have delayed it because they marketed it at 60. I agree. If you promoted the re-release of Avatar in 3D, said it was in 3D, opened pre-orders in 3D, and then only opened it in 2D with the caveat that it was technically 3D in China, that wouldn't fly. Why should a game shouting Xbox from the rooftop showing only PC footage be okay? Sorry, just my 2 cents. I agree. There was a marketing and messaging problem there from Bethesda. Not from Xbox, from Bethesda.
They're the one and the same, man.
Yeah, man.
They're one and the same, bro.
Phil should be fired. Oh, man. How could he allow Redfall to be 30?
Look, Sony would never let their first party come out in bad shape. Ignore The Last of Us on PC.
Yeah. Because, they're all perfect. And they never do that. Yes, Shadowblade, I'm working on beating GoldenEye. I did 3 more levels last night in agent mode so I could get through it faster. GoldenEye has like really, really delayed achievement pops. Like super delayed, and all the, I've been going through, right? So I'm probably just over 3/4 of the way through. And every single achievement pop has been a diamond.
Oh, wow.
So no one's playing
every game. Almost every Game Pass game gets like that.
Like every like even just completing the level, like all those achievements have been diamonds, all of them. It's like, man,
most people opened it, started playing it, were like, "Oh my god, what is this?" and closed it.
I was one of those people.
Yeah.
I will say I'm enjoying it so much more on just agent difficulty rather than trying to do them all on 00 agent because I like my easy modes. But yes, DeoGame, I agree with you. Like, and it is interesting when it comes to reviews. Like, it's this weird balance that has to be struck. Sites like us and content creators aren't entitled to review codes. These companies don't have to give us free copies of their games. We very much appreciate that they do, but they actually don't have to. This is the thing that people forget.
'Tis quid pro quo.
Like, they don't have to give us games. They don't have to. But at the same time, I feel like if you're going to be nice enough to give us your game, maybe give us a bit of time to actually play it.
Yeah. If you would like me to go over this subject, I've got some thoughts. And I'll be quick because I know you've got Greek Easter, and mostly because of you, we're over 3 hours.
I already got a text from my wife. She's already left.
Yeah.
I'm here. I think I'm here I might be here by myself or with the kids.
As the reviews editor, as the person working diligently to try and get codes early, for pretty much any major game, you expect about a week. You want 2 to 4, but most games you end up getting about a week, and it sucks every time because you then have to focus on just trying to beat it if you can, depending on the length of the game. And so trying to hit every mode, trying to hit everything, trying to see what New Game Plus is like, all that, sometimes you only get a little look at it. Like, it makes it very difficult. Then there are times where you will get a full 2 weeks, but like Elden Ring is an enormous game that is 200 hours if you want to beat all of it and see everything and really know, which would be a month or 2 of review time lead up, but they gave us 6 days. So I played 90-ish hours in that amount of time. So you do what you can to a healthy degree. And I actually played that much because I was liking it so much. Like, I didn't have to. At that point, I knew, this is pretty special. But for review coverage and review time, most major games are never more than 2 weeks and are typically between 1 and 10 days, like 7 to 10 days. So sometimes you only get 3. It depends on how big you are as well. For some reason, they like to give us, as a smaller site, only a couple of days. And like, I had to beat Gotham Knights. So I played Persona 5 Royal for 3 days straight for 35 hours to do that review. And I immediately jumped into doing Gotham Knights for 40 hours over 3 days to do that review. That was all the time they gave us. Bigger companies get way more. So
they get multiple codes as well.
Yes.
So that, and that's the stage we want to get to, is where, we're able to, on the show, not only just have one person in the team reviewed it, but where we've all, we've been playing X this week. Like,
it's a rare thing where both John and I will be able to talk about Dead Island next week because we had multiple copies. It's been very nice. But for what you try to review everything. You try to cover every part of it. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you're bad at certain parts of it. And so you're like, well, I tried. I'm not great at it, but I can see why people might like or dislike this. And you try your very best to, I think our reviews focus on being a bunch of facts about the game, so you know what it is, mixed with our opinions on how it made us feel. But the main thing are the facts on breaking down what is this game. So at least at that level, you can get a feeling for what a game is through the review. The score is the last thing. We all pull it out of our ass. I stand by the fact that scores are a terrible metric.
We all think scores are stupid.
But you have to do them because unless you're really big, you don't get listed on OpenCritic or Metacritic or, get quotes or anything. It's our text tries to be not too long, but very informative, giving you the facts of what is this game mixed with how we feel about it. So, try to cover everything. Can never cover everything. Always think of things you forgot afterwards and get annoyed. You can go back and change the text, but you can't go back and fix up the video. So, DeoGame, it's someone in the server who you've probably seen us struggling a lot. Like, I'm going to have a pretty rough stretch over the next few days where... next few weeks, I should say. Pretty rough stretch over the next few weeks with Jedi Survivor right into Redfall. And those games don't give you more than a week generally. So you try. You want to cover everything, but you pick and choose your battles based on what you think is the most important.
Good answer.
Oh, yeah.
That's your ass.
Got that. Kevin in the chat said Quake Con's coming back as an in-person event.
Yep.
We forgot about that.
We might get more Starfield there. You never know.
Might get.
It's in August.
Hopefully we get the new A new Quake.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
John, you're going to pay for me to go? I'll go stand around there.
I'm not going to fly to the US for Quake Con.
I mean, that's right. Just me. It's fine. If John wants to come, he can. I mean, if he's paying for it, he can come, of course. But I'll allow it.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, I don't know.
I will literally hit up their PR and see is this worth coming to for coverage as a gaming website. Maybe they'll let me know. You never know.
Yeah, could be fun. But yes,
good lot of fun.
That's it.
That's it. That's all of the questions. Wow.
Yeah, we hit so many during the Redfall part.
Everyone was bitching about Redfall. Noted. Mm-hmm.
Bitching or making jokes.
Or both.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's it. It's another show.
Oh.
Only 3 hours. Psst. I get to experience uploading to Spotify for the first time tomorrow. That'll be fun.
Yes. For those waiting for timestamps, guys, very, very decent chance I will not get a chance to do timestamps today.
I'll jump in. I'll get some very basic ones for show start and stuff, just so people know.
Yeah. I'll do my best, but there's a
Nick will hit it up over the next few days. Nick will make it his normal thing, but we'll go. It's
11 a.m. right now, and as soon as I get off here, I got to get ready and basically go. So I'll be busy all afternoon at Greek Easter and watching the footy. So maybe late tonight, I'll try my best.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. Anyone complains, I'll block them.
Yeah, we'll see how we go.
And on that note, have a wonderful Orthodox Greek Easter, Nick. I hope you have a great time. And I guess...
And may all your games be 60.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Ciao for now.
XboxEra Podcast is powered by you. And if you want to support us, you can do so via Patreon. Just head to patreon.com/XboxEra. And as a thank you for your support, you get cool stuff and we get to keep doing what we do. Now let's get into it.